A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
One week from tonight, October 5th, You Bet Your Life, starring Groucho Marx, will be heard at this time over most of these same CBS stations.
We offer you Escape, starring Van Heflin. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are trapped in the dank darkness of a ruined plantation house. Somewhere in the pitch-black room is a homicidal maniac armed with a knife, groping for you, trying to prevent your escape.
Tonight, with Van Heflin as John Woolfolk, we escape to a deserted sandpit off the coast of Georgia, where terror stalks under the Spanish moss, as Joseph Hergesheimer tells it in Wild Oranges.
What could have appeared more innocent of danger than that barren, low-lying shore of southern Georgia? What could have seemed less laden with terror than that lovely little cove, so tranquil and well-sheltered, so warmly bathed in late afternoon sun as we dropped the anchor of our ketch and prepared our mooring? And yet there was something. First, it was an aroma. A grove of wild orange trees in late bloom grew defiantly amid the tangled undergrowth of the shore. The scent was strong and exotic and heady. And as I smelled it, I felt a vague uneasiness. Then, as I watched the shore and Halbert, my sailor, unfurl the sails, the mirror of the cove was shattered by a movement. At first, I thought it was a fish leaping and playing in the water. Came round a spit of land from an inner bay, and then Halbert was beside me.
That's queer, sir. I would have bet there was nobody within miles of here, but that's someone swimming.
Yes. That's a girl.
Right, sir. She'll be surprised when she discovers us, no doubt.
And embarrassed. She swims well, doesn't she?
Yes, sir.
She had been born in the water.
Oh, she's seen us.
Yes. Now she's running away. That Brentwood win an Olympic race, huh?
Yes, sir.
I wonder what she's doing here, where she comes from.
Perhaps there, sir.
Where?
Through the trees. There's a house there. You can hardly see it. I spotted it a moment ago.
Yes, so there is. But it's a ruin. It's rotting away. No one could have lived in that since the Civil War.
There may be others back there, sir.
I know, but this is a deserted coast. It's marked as a swamp on the chart.
Well, I don't know, sir.
Huh. This is strange. It's very strange. Yes, it was strange. And stranger still was this vague uneasiness that I felt. As twilight fell, the aroma of the wild oranges was overwhelming. And suddenly, without knowing why, I slipped on my jacket and went to the side and dropped into the tender. Halbert stood by to cast off. He asked no questions, and I said nothing. What could I say? I didn't know myself why I was going. I pulled the tender up on the soft sand of the beach and walked up a dim path through the orange grove. Around the side of the house, where a smaller portico held off the weeds, a single doorway was framed in the pale light of the inner lamp. As I approached, I saw a shadow flit across it so swiftly, so furtively, that it was gone before I realized it had been a man. And then I saw her, sitting on the portico, rocking softly in her chair.
What do you want?
What? Oh, nothing. I came ashore. I thought no one was living here.
You're from the white boat that sailed in at sunset?
Yes, and I'm returning immediately.
It was like magic. Suddenly, without a sound, you were anchored in the bay.
I've robbed you, too. I picked a couple of your oranges.
You won't like them. They've run wild. We can't sell them.
Well, they have a distinct flavor. I should be very glad to have some of them on the boat.
All you want.
Well, my man will get them and pay you.
Please don't. Nicholas attends to that. Won't you sit down? My father was here when you came up, but he went in. Strangers disturb him.
I should be getting back. I'm sorry to have disturbed you and your father.
No, it's nothing.
Well, good night, then.
Good night.
That was all. A fragment of commonplace conversation, but it was enough. Now the uneasiness I felt, the strangeness of this place took shape for me. I saw it in her lovely, fragile face. I heard it in her voice. There'd been a hidden terror, a terrible, controlled fright that approached hysteria. But when I got back to the boat, Halvard made it even worse.
Find anything, sir?
There are people living there.
Well, there'll be water then. Maybe we can stay here for a couple of days.
What do you mean?
Well, this is good anchorage. I'd like to unship the propeller, and there's some scraping to do.
Yes, I suppose you're right. We need a couple of days of work before we head into the open sea.
Yes, sir.
Oh, we'll do it here. And so we stayed. In the light of morning, the strange dread I had felt seemed foolish, and especially when I went ashore and found the girl looking young and fresh and fragile. She was fishing off a little pier in the inner bay. She had a pathetic little rod and reel, and so I got our tackle from the boat and landed a big rockfish for her, enough for several dinners. We were carrying the fish to the house when we came on a pale, thin ghost of a man. He's sitting on the portico. He started a swift retreat, but it was too late.
Father, wait. This is my father, Litchfield Stowe.
Oh, how do you do, sir?
Mary, you know I... Strangers.
Father, you know I wouldn't bring anyone to the house who would hurt us. And see, we're fetching you a splendid rockfish.
Yes. Just so... We're alone here. The man is away. My daughter and I... Fish. Yeah, acceptable.
If you'll carry it in for me... Nicholas would do it, but he's away, and Father isn't strong. This way. We have no ice. I must put it in water. In here, right there. Thank you. You've been very nice. Now I suppose you'll go on across the world?
Well, not tonight. We're staying here making repairs.
Where do you come from? Where are you going?
Oh, from Cape Cod. I'm going to South America.
South America. I travel on maps. I was born here in this house. I've never been 50 miles away.
You seem like a girl who's been everywhere in the world. You've had the best education, everything.
My father has many books in there, that's all.
Your eyes are remarkable. Magnetic. Well, there's something else in your eyes and in your voice. What is it? Fear?
Fear? Why, no, of course not. What should I be afraid of?
Well, I don't know, but I saw it in your father's face, too.
It's only your imagination.
Yes, no doubt. Well, goodbye, then, and thank you for the fishing. Strange how this girl would have upset me so. I tried to resist, but that evening I found myself going back to her. Tying the tender to the little pier, I watched her as she came to meet me.
I'm glad you came. Let's stay here by the sea. It's so lovely in the moonlight.
All right. Oh, it is nice here, isn't it?
Nicholas is back.
Nicholas?
He's our man. I lied to you today about fear. I suppose I am afraid. I suppose my father's passed some of his fear on to me.
Why is he afraid?
Well, that's a long story, going back to the First War. He was a young man then, and he didn't go to war. It wasn't that he was a coward exactly. He just couldn't adjust to it mentally. People laughed at him and threatened him. And that's when sort of perpetual fear started. He ran away, met my mother and married, and they came here. None of us has ever left this lonely place. Never will, perhaps.
And your mother?
She's dead. Loneliness killed her. Perhaps it's no wonder that I sound timid and afraid. Perhaps I am.
Aren't you lonely, too?
I don't know anything else. But what about you? Who are you that you go sailing about the world with only a sailor company?
No, I'm nobody. My name is John Woolfolk.
And you do nothing but sail about the world?
Nothing?
Why?
Oh, well, let's say that I don't like modern society. Let's say that I don't like entanglements.
I see.
Oh, no, I didn't
you
mean
needn't
it.
apologize. I envy you your freedom. I sit here a great deal and watch the ships far out there on their water roads. You are enviable, sailing where you like, safe and free. Safe, free.
There's something more than you've told me. There's more behind this fear in your voice.
No.
Look, perhaps I can help you.
No, please.
What's that?
It's Nicholas blowing on the conch. I've got to go in.
Wait a minute. I'll come with
please,
you.
No, don't come. You'll be going soon?
Tomorrow, perhaps.
Then, goodbye. Goodbye.
Now I knew the terror that I had only sensed was real. This girl was possessed by fear. This house held some terrible secret. What could it be? Next morning, Halford went in to fill a cask for water. He came back without the cask, and he was livid with rage.
There's an idiot in that house, sir. Next time I'll take the pistol.
What do you mean? Where's the cask?
It's broken, sir.
How? How did you...
I was filling it at the cistern, and this idiot, a huge, hulking brute, came out of the house. He told me to get away. Well, I tried to explain we had permission, but he came at me with a knife, gibbering. He put his foot on the cask and crushed it.
Well, I'll see about this.
Be careful, sir. The man's not quite right. He's dangerous. Plenty dangerous.
I went ashore and around to the back door of the house. Millie wasn't in sight. When I knocked, a lumbering giant with pig-like eyes came to the door. Are you, Nicholas?
What do you want?
Well, I take it you're the man who broke my water cask.
It was full of our water.
I'm not going to argue with you. I came ashore to instruct you to keep your hands off of my property and my sailor.
And let our water be.
I told you that I wouldn't discuss the water. I don't have to justify myself to you. Just remember, keep your hands off.
Don't get me started.
What do you mean, started? I don't care what you do.
Don't get me started. Mind now, I want you. Don't get me started.
Put down that knife.
Go away. Don't get me started now. Go away.
Stand back.
Don't get me started.
Nicholas, stop. What is this? What's the matter?
Well, nothing. Nicholas and I had a little misunderstanding, that's all.
You tell this man, Millie. Tell him to go. And don't get me started.
Nicholas, put down that knife! Now, Mr. Woolfolk, please. Please go!
I have never seen such terror in a woman's eyes. I felt completely helpless as I turned. I went on back to the boat. But mingled with her terror, I'd seen something else in Millie's eyes. There was a plea. And I knew there'd be another meeting between me and Nicholas. That night a storm broke, a raging wind and rain to match my tortured mood. I hardly slept. Millie's face was always before my eyes, and by morning I knew that I must do something. I rode the tender in through a drizzling rain. I went up through the orange grove and stopped in some bushes by the house. Someone was coming out of the house, and so I crouched down out of sight. It was Millie. I rose, and I called to her, Millie!
Oh, it's you. I was just coming out to look. I was afraid you'd gone out to seize like a pack of wolves.
I won't go alone. Now, you not without you, I won't.
What are you saying? That's madness.
No, I've got to talk to you. There's a lot that needs explaining. Things that I have a right to know.
No, not here. Come.
She led me into one of the smaller ruined buildings. We crouched far back in the dripping shadows of a corner.
No.
Millie, for the first time in 12 years, I'm living again. Darling, I'm in love with you.
I know nothing of love.
It's quickly learned. Millie, don't you feel anything for me at all?
I don't know. Perhaps if things were different, someplace else, I might care very much.
But I'm going to take you away someplace else. I'm going to make things different. I'm going to give you a chance.
Oh, no. It's too late.
Why?
You came too late.
Why? Millie, what is this? What is this fear?
Nicholas.
Oh, that's foolish. He's nothing to be afraid of. Has he been bothering you?
He says he's crazy about me. He says I must marry him.
Where is he now?
Oh, no, John, you mustn't. Something frightful would happen to him.
Not frightful, just unfortunate for Nicholas.
But you don't understand. He's not human. There's something about him.
What about him?
He came here in April. We were glad to get him. Servants are impossible to get back here in the wilderness. And he'd worked for the smallest wages. Only a few days ago I found out why he was glad to be here. I was cleaning his room and I found this.
Let me see that. Wanted for murder, Isaac Nicholas. A homicidal maniac.
He knows I found it. He knows, and he's been furious. And then you came and he ran and hid in the pines. He told me if I spoke about him, it would happen to me. And if I left with you, it would happen to Father. Now he thinks I'm in love with you. He told me to send you away. He said you must leave today.
Millie, I should have realized this.
I'm not to stay away for longer than now. I must go, Jim.
Look, Millie. It'll take us a couple of hours to get our boat ready. I'm going to come for you tonight at 8. Now, you tell him that you saw me and I promised to go. Act quietly. Say that you were upset, that you'll give him his answer tomorrow. Then at 8, you bring your father and walk out to the wharf. Now, that's all, but do it. Without hesitation or preparation.
Don't let him hurt us. Please don't.
Not now. He's finished. But do just as I say. It won't be long, hardly 3 hours. And then you're going to be free. Now that I knew, now that there was to be action, I felt better. Not that I minimized the risk. Halvard and I got the ketch ready for sailing. At 8 o'clock, Halvard and I tied up to the little pier. The storm had let up a little, but it was still raining. I got up on the dock and I waited for Millie. 10 minutes passed. And then 20. Something was wrong. I told Halvard to wait there with the tender. Then I walked slowly up to the house. It was dark. I went up to the side portico to the heavy door. There was a tiny crack of light showing under it. I pushed it open. The light came from a parlor to the right. I looked in. On the floor lay a body, her father. He was dead. He was crushed. His arm twisted grotesquely under him. There wasn't a sound in the house. Slowly I walked through the downstairs rooms. Nothing. Then, back in the hall, I heard a slight creak. Upstairs, someone had moved. Was it Millie, alive? Or was it Nicholas lying in wait? I groped slowly up the stairs. I didn't dare to use my flashlight. It would have made me a target for his knife. The upstairs hall was pitch black. Still, there was no sound. I inched my way along the wall, slowly. And then stumbled on the loose board. The pistol flew out of my hand, but the stumble saved my life. At the same instant, I felt Nicholas lunge, heard the knife sing past my ear and thud into the wall. I felt his great bulk smashing on my shoulder. My gun was somewhere on the dark floor. His knife was embedded in the wall. Now we were grappling hand to hand, rolling on the floor, kicking, tearing, gouging, crushing. My strength had went against the massive bulk of a maniacal killer. How many minutes did that unusual and unequal struggle last? I don't know. It seemed an hour. Several times, as if by common consent, we rested for a minute at a time. Once we rolled apart and lay panting, the breast aching in my throat. And then I heard him groping along the wall, searching for the knife or gun. I threw myself at him again. He was too big. He was too furious. I felt my strength ebbing away. His fingers were closing over my throat. with one last effort, I tried to throw him off to roll him over. I staggered to my feet. I was dazed. I looked up. We had fallen through the banister down the stairwell. Nicholas had landed on the bottom. He lay there on the stairs, sprawled, his head at a grotesque angle. He wasn't dead. He's only stunned. I leaned against the wall, looking at him stupidly. There was something that I must remember. What was it? Then she came down the steps, and I remembered. Millie.
I had to walk right past him. There was no other way. Right past his head and my skirt. I think we better go away. Yes, we'll leave at once. I must tell you about my father. You know, in Virginia, the women tied an apron on the door because he wouldn't go to war. And that played on his mind. And he was afraid of the slightest thing.
Yes, I know, but we must
Things
go.
upset him so he had no strength.
To hear her talk like this, like a sick child, was almost more than I could bear. Then I heard something. Nicholas had got up. He stood up and stared at us for a moment, and then he started slowly up the stairs. He was going after that knife.
The least little thing upset him.
Millie, look, we've got to go.
Oh, I was to meet a man. We were going away someplace where it would be peaceful. But Nicholas suspected, you see. He asked why Father had put on his heavy winter clothes. And then when I tried to go out, he pushed me.
Millie,
and do you know what Father did then? He came up and said, "Don't do that. Take your hands off my daughter." His lips shook a little. But he said it. That's the important thing.
Yes, of course. Your father was a brave man after all. But please, now come. You were supposed to meet a man. That man's waiting for you. There's no time to lose.
Father said, "Take your hands off my daughter." Nicholas killed him, of course. But it was a brave thing to do.
Yes, now come. I couldn't wait any longer. I could hear Nicholas coming back. I picked her up and carried her out into the night, down the path to the pier. Behind me, I could hear Nicholas crashing through the brush like a giant animal in pursuit.
Are you all right, sir?
Yes. I'm about done in, but I'm all right. Here, help me. Help me get her into the boat.
Yes, sir. There. Oh, there's someone coming, sir.
This is Nicholas. He's got a knife.
Good. I wanted to get back at him. You get in, sir. I'll take care of him.
All right, Albert. I wouldn't be much help anyway. Albert went to intercept Nicholas on the path. I heard them meet and struggle for a moment. And then a figure came walking slowly, stooped onto the pier. I got ready to shove the boat out into the water, and then...
It's all right, sir. It's me.
Albert, where's Nicholas?
I stopped it. He was all bumped out.
Are you hurt?
No, it's just a scratch, sir. I missed his hand at first in the dark. It's nothing.
Good. Well, let's get away from here, then. I held Millie in my arms as Albert rowed to the ketch. Erratically, I suppose because of the storm. We were ready to cast off in 2 minutes. The last obstacle would be the narrow passage out of the cove. In this storm, it would be very dangerous. I started to take Millie into the cabin.
No! There's Nicholas in the doorway.
No nonsense. Nicholas is dead. You're on my boat. You're safe, Millie.
Safe? With John Wolford?
I am John Wolford.
But you didn't come.
Yes, I came, Millie. You're safe. Please, come.
I'd rather stay up here.
All right. You sit here beside Howard. I'm going up front to take soundings.
In this wind, you won't be able to hear me if I call.
No,
sir.
but you can hear me. Remember, we only have 3-foot clearance. Now, you'll have to hold it steady through that passage.
Yes, sir.
Halford, now, this is no time to be brave. How do you feel?
I feel all right, sir. I've taken irons before.
All right.
Just a scratch.
All right, fine. Now, we'll fix it just as soon as we get outside. All right, now, let's go. Put up your anchor and turn over the engine.
Yes, sir.
The boat headed into the tearing wind of the storm, straight toward the narrow inlet. A foot too far on either side and we'd hit. In this sea, that would mean death for all of us. I stood far up on the bow, taking soundings, feeling out the passage. Howling wind carried the call back to Halbert. Forward! Now the boat veered again. I realized that he must have lost an awful lot of blood. Halbert! Halbert! Steady! Slowly, haltingly, it came around. 3.5! Steady now! But it was anything but steady. The boat wavered and swung as if an inexperienced hand was at the wheel. In a moment, we might hit. 3.25! We were in the passage. Hold steady, Halbert! Steady! 3.5. We're through. Goodbye, Halbert! Goodbye! Good boy, Halbert, I called. But when I went back, it wasn't Halbert at the wheel. It was Millie. Millie, her hands steady, her eyes washed clear of any madness. Millie with a little tight smile on her face, but no fear. And Halbert lay rolling with the swells in the bottom of the cockpit.
I'm afraid, John. He was wounded worse than you thought.
Oh, Halbert, good heavens.
He told me to take the wheel. Said it was life or death, and then he slid down.
When? When was this?
Back there in the passage. Just when you said 3.5. I'm afraid I wasn't very good, but I held on.
Oh, Millie, you were wonderful.
No, not yet. But I'll learn, John. I'll learn.
Escape was produced and directed by Gordon T. Hughes, with Van Heflin starring as John Woolfolk. Tonight we have presented Wild Oranges by Joseph Hergesheimer, adapted for radio by John Dunkel. Featured in the cast were Betty Lou Gerson, Bill Conrad, Edmund McDonald, Wilms Herbert. Special music was conceived and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week.
You are following a man whom you must kill to the bleak wastes of a tiny island at the bottom of the world. And you know that one of you can never escape.
Next week, we escape with John Russell's grim story of revenge, The Primitive. Good night, then, until next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Van Heflin is currently starring with Jennifer Jones, James Mason, and Louis Jourdan in Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's Madame Bovary. Starting 1 week from next Saturday, October 8th, Escape will take a regular place in the CBS Saturday night schedule. That's 1 week from next Saturday, October 8th, Escape. Next week at this time, you will hear CBS's latest addition to its fine Wednesday night shows, You Bet Your Life, starring Groucho Marx. This outstanding comedy quiz, highlighted by Groucho's fast ad-libs, has won a Peabody Award and a high place in America's comedy favorites. Next Wednesday, it joins the parade on CBS, where it will be heard along with The Bing Crosby Show and Burns and Allen on most of these same CBS stations. Stay tuned now for The Bing Crosby Show, which follows immediately over most of these same stations. Paul Masterson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
Escape! Designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to a lonely schooner sailing through the hot Caribbean night, carrying a fortune and the heedless passions of reckless men, as John and Gwen Bagney tell it in their exciting tale, The Sure Thing.
This way, senor.
Thank you.
If you would please wait in here in the president's office.
Fine.
You understand, senor, I have not the authority to handle the matter myself.
Yes, of course I understand.
You see, a bank draft of $2 million. It is a matter of such importance. Senor Jose Perez, the president of the bank, he is the only one.
That's perfectly all right. I'll wait for Senor Perez.
Gracias, senor. Gracias.
Wait? Yes, I could wait. I'd come this far, I could afford a few more minutes. And I'd wanted to think about it, to roll it over in my mind, just as you roll a fine liqueur over your tongue to enjoy the full realization of it. It was hard to believe. Just a short while ago, I had been ship's doctor on the SS Martina, the gilded ferry boat of the Caribbean. And now, I sat back in a comfortable chair and went over the whole thing again in my mind, just the way it happened, from the beginning. We had just cleared the Straits of Yucatan on our way to Havana when the 23-word message came that started the whole thing.
Same thing, Doc. SOS, latitude 23 north, longitude 85 west. Accident case on board schooner Sidon en route to Havana. Urgently need doctor. Can you board us?
Is that all? No answer as to the type of injury?
I don't get it, Doc. She's laying to just out the starboard, and they still keep sending the same message.
Lifeboat's ready, Doctor.
Coming.
Got all your gear?
All set. Let's go. As a rule, I don't excite easily, but I was hanging onto my little black bag like an intern on his first ambulance case. Maybe it was the hour, the gray hour at sea that is suspended between day and night. As we pulled away from our ship, I could just barely make out the schooner heeling to a wandering current. She was a 42-footer, and from her high bow, she sloped away neatly in a sweeping sheer line to a trim, square stern. The Sidon. The name seemed to fit her, aloof and aristocratic. We pulled alongside.
That's the doctor?
Yes, give us a hand, will you?
All right, men, ship your oars. Steady, Doc.
You on board here, take my bag. Olson, give me a hand with a stretcher.
Right.
Watch your step, there. There. Easy.
There, thanks. Well, there we are. Now, where's the patient?
He's below. What'd you bring the stretcher for?
Who are you?
I'm the owner. Felix Rouge is the name. You can't take him off this boat. He's too weak.
I'll decide that. Come on, Olson.
Come on, Doc.
We went below. The main cabin was lined in Honduras mahogany. Everything was custom built. Even the galley that we passed through on our way to the stateroom forward, where I found my patient, an old man, and with him, a girl.
Oh, Doctor, I'm so glad you're here. Joseph.
Huh?
Joseph, the doctor. He's here.
Oh. Doctor, thank heaven.
Easy now. Easy. You'll be all right.
Doctor, he had an accident. He's terribly ill. I've been so worried.
Please. Bad shock. Pulse pretty low.
You're not going to take him away, are you?
No, I can't.
Easy now. Have you enough oil aboard to reach Havana if the wind doesn't hold?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Olson.
Yeah, Doc?
You go on back. This man's in no condition to be moved.
What about you?
I'll meet the ship in Havana. We ought to be in there sometime tomorrow.
But the skipper...
I'll take the responsibility.
Okay. You're the doctor.
All right, let's have a look here. Easy now. Who bandaged him?
I did.
You did a good job.
No,
don't try to talk. How long has he been this way?
2 days.
2 days?
The wound, Doctor, I'm afraid it's...
Yes, it's a nasty one. Deep and infected. Who did the surgery on him?
Surgery?
Who probed for the bullet?
Bullet? There was no bullet. He was injured while splicing a backstay with a marlin spike.
He was what?
You see, he was carrying the marlin spike in his hand when Felix had to come about unexpectedly. It threw him off balance, and he fell.
Hand me my bag.
What's the matter?
You're like a parrot I used to own. Your sea talk is too glib.
It's the truth, I tell you.
I've dug out too many bullets not to recognize the kind of mess they make.
It was a marlin spike.
Yes, well, you can yell marlin spike all the way to Havana, but it isn't going to change my report.
Report? No bullet. Marlin spike.
Lie back now.
Marlin.
This won't hurt.
What?
Just a hypodermic.
No dope. I don't want it.
But I've got to probe. You can't take it if you're conscious.
No anesthetic. Only brandy.
Doctor, give him the anesthetic.
Oh, no. You'd like that, wouldn't you, Stephanie?
You're out of your mind, Joseph. I just want to save you the pain, and the doctor...
Get him the brandy.
But, Doctor...
It's his body. If that's what he wants, that's the way he'll have it. Now get the brandy.
Thank you. And, Doctor...
Yes?
Send Stephanie away. Don't want her around me.
She went away, but she didn't like it. And I got to work. The old man didn't say a word all the time I probed. Just moaned and gritted his teeth. I found the bullet all right, and then I powdered the wound with sulfur and bandaged it. I could see I'd have my hands full just to keep him together until we got to Havana. For the next couple of hours, I was pretty busy, and it was well after 10 o'clock when I felt it was safe to leave him and go up on deck to catch a smoke. Halfway up the companionway, I ran into Felix Arouge on his way down. I hadn't got a good look at him when I first came aboard, but now I did. Heavy, dark, bony face with a black mole on his cheek. Fine flannel slacks rolled to his knees. And for a belt, a gaudy necktie. Against the polished brass and teak deck of the schooner, he was as incongruous as a herring in caviar.
Well, Doc, how's the old boy? Is he going to kick off?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I think he's going to be all right.
You think, or do you know?
I'm only a doctor. I've done everything I can for him. Wait a minute. Where are you going?
I want to see him. I got to talk to him.
I wouldn't advise it.
Since when are you giving the orders around here?
Since I came aboard. I don't want him disturbed. He needs to rest.
Yeah. You got any objections if I get myself a cup of coffee?
No, so long as you stay away from my patient.
Oh, I didn't hear you come up.
You handle the wheel like an old salt.
Oh, I don't know much about it. I just do what Felix tells me. How's Joseph? You've been down there such a long time, I thought that maybe...
That he died?
What a horrible thing to say. Of course not.
Who is Joseph? Your husband?
No, I'm his secretary.
Oh, then this is a business trip.
In a way. Doctor, what are you getting at?
Did you shoot him?
Why would I shoot him and then call for a doctor out here in the middle of the ocean?
I don't know, and after tomorrow I won't care. You realize, of course, my report to the authorities in Havana will be according to my own findings.
I suppose so. May I have a cigarette?
Oh, certainly. Here you are.
Thank you, I have a light. I don't imagine there's any way of changing your mind. Is there, Doctor?
This is a beautiful schooner. Belong to your boss?
Yes.
I wonder, you mind if I take the wheel for a while? It's been a long time since...
Oh, you know how to sail?
Yeah, I used to back in Maine.
All right, go ahead.
Feels good. Yeah, she sure handles like a dream. Uh-huh. Just as I thought.
What's wrong, Doctor?
We're not headed for Havana. We're headed in the opposite direction. The Sidon was racing along with sails full, but she wasn't sailing due east to Havana. The compass said she was sailing southwest, away from Havana as fast as wind and sail could take her. I laid her on the starboard tack and started to bring her about. The sails bellied out, catching the wind as it shifted across the bow. And then as they started to fill away, the mainmast boom swung over. Just as I ducked to avoid it, a shot rang out. I put up my hand to steady myself against the main boom. And there in the wood, right where my head would have been if I hadn't ducked, was the bullet. Across the deck, silhouetted in the light of the companionway, stood Felix, polishing his gun with a handkerchief.
You shouldn't tack, Doctor, when a man's cleaning his gun.
Cleaning your gun in the dark in the middle of the night?
I suppose it is dangerous. I say you don't like our course.
I was under the impression this craft was bound for Havana.
That's right, Doc, we are.
Then why are we sailing southwest?
Southwest? That's a woman for you. Can't trust them behind the wheel of a car, and they're no better behind the wheel of a boat.
Oh, no, Felix, you don't blame me for that. I don't know anything about a course. I did what you told me.
Then why didn't you do it right?
If I'm so incompetent, maybe you'd better handle it yourself.
Maybe I will.
As the Sidon pushed its way through the serenity of the night, carrying with it an incredible tension, I didn't know what that game was. The lies, the marlinspike, nocturnal gun cleaning, change of course, who they were or what they meant to each other. But one thing was certain. I intended to get to Havana if it was the last thing I ever did. And to make sure it wasn't the last thing, this was one night I wouldn't sleep. I went down to the old man's stateroom where I'd left my bag to get some Benzedrine. While I was there, I checked on him. Considering his age, he had a lot of stamina. He was sleeping quietly. He wouldn't need me. I opened the bag, took the tablets, and suddenly my hand stopped in midair. My hypodermic needle, loaded with the anesthetic that Joseph had refused, was gone.
In just a moment, we will return to Escape. But first, we keep reminding you that this fall you'll hear them all on CBS. But there's one Sunday night show that makes you think constantly that it's spring. It's the show that brings you the hilarious adventures of that capricious teenage charmer, Corliss Archer. Youth and love and a definite springtime madness well up in Corliss's adventures every Sunday night, bewitching, bothering, and bewildering her parents, the neighbors, her teachers, and her boyfriends. For a show that's filled to the brim with charm and good humor and very funny adventure, meet Corliss Archer every Sunday night on most of the same CBS network stations.
Tune in this fall for the shows that you love best of all. Listen carefully, here's the address. It's CBS.
And now back to Escape and the second act of The Sure Thing.
My hypodermic needle, loaded with the anesthetic that Joseph had refused, was gone. I tore the bag apart, took everything out, but it wasn't there. It wasn't anywhere in the stateroom. One of them had stolen it. Why? To use on the old man? On me? I went back up on deck. Felix was at the wheel. I knew it was futile to ask him if he'd taken my needle.
What's the matter? Can't you sleep? Or are you still worried about the course? See, we're sailing due east.
Very commendable. Mind if I take the wheel a while?
No, I don't mind at all. But keep her due east, Doctor. I want to get to Havana.
I watched his truculent broad back as he moved across the deck and disappeared below. The moon was as bright as day and as reassuring. It drove the worry of the missing hypodermic needle away from the front of my mind. It was good to be alone, to feel the sure swiftness of the boat under my feet. This was something to cling to. This was reality. Every knot closer to Havana. The sails swung out, covering the moon, throwing everything into blackness. That's why I didn't realize at first anyone was approaching until I saw the glow of the cigarette. I tensed myself. My hand clutched at something in the cockpit. It was a wrench. The cigarette moved closer. I waited. The sail bellowed back, and I saw her, full in the moonlight. There was strength and defiance in the way she held her footing against the wind, but there was no defiance in her voice.
I have to talk to you.
Go ahead, talk.
I'm afraid I haven't been very honest with you.
No, I'm afraid you haven't.
I lied to you, and I realize now how foolish it was, but... Doctor, I'm afraid of Felix.
Are you trying to tell me it was Felix who shot the old man?
Yes, and he made me lie about it.
Like you lied about the course?
You'll never get to Havana. He's letting you think that you're getting there now, but he'll figure out something.
Yeah, I'm sure he will, if that target practice a few moments ago was any sample.
Oh, he wasn't trying to kill you. Felix wouldn't kill you now, not as long as Joseph needs you. I mean...
You know, you're not making sense again. Felix wants me to keep Joseph alive, and yet Felix shot Joseph.
It was just in a fit of anger, an argument. Felix has a terrible temper. Why, he'd be a fool to kill Joseph.
What makes Joseph so valuable?
I suppose I should tell you all of it.
Well, that might be a good idea.
I told you the truth about one thing, at least. I am his secretary. Only his name isn't just Joseph. It's Joseph Ingram.
Ingram? No wonder his face was familiar. He's the big aviation tycoon. Yeah, but look, Ingram was killed 2 weeks ago. I read about it in the papers. A transcontinental airplane crashed into a mountain.
Yeah. Even fate works for him. We were on our way to Washington. He'd been subpoenaed to have his war contracts investigated. Oh, the public was really worked up about it. He was a cinch to be indicted. Why, even his own wife left him after 20 years of marriage. But as luck would have it, we got off the plane at Albuquerque to answer a wire from his attorney.
But the radio and the newspapers obituaried him to death.
I know. That's how things happened for him. Apparently, there was just no record of us leaving the plane, and they only found half the survivors, and some of those they couldn't identify.
Now, go on.
Well, when Joseph realized that he was officially dead, he saw the way out. He phoned Felix in Florida to have us sitting ready, and we took a train down and boarded her there.
Yeah, I see, but I don't...
Well, why do you think I'm on this boat? Do you think I wanted to come? Do you think I wanted to leave my whole life behind? I was forced to come. I was the only one who knew that Joseph was still alive. And now you know.
What about Felix?
Oh, Felix, he does odd jobs, as it were, for Joseph. And Joseph owns Felix, body and soul, just as he owns everyone who works for him.
And you?
I was ambitious. I ought to hate Joseph, but it's not his fault. I saw a chance to go further with him than with any other man. Only I'd known how it would end. Running away from everything. Always to be afraid.
Well, if that's it, then I was wrong. Then maybe the needle isn't meant for Joseph.
Needle? What needle?
A hypodermic needle loaded with anesthetic. It's missing from my bag. If it isn't meant for Joseph or for me, it's meant for you.
Oh, no. Oh, no. He can't. He wouldn't.
I'm afraid we'll have to be more realistic.
We?
If you'll forgive the pun, I'm afraid we're both in the same boat. There was desperation on her face, and I felt sorry for her. She was in this mess up to her neck, and she was afraid. And yet it was good having her beside me there in the cockpit. It was pleasant to be with her. Just the two of us, and the moon and the sea. Well, anyway, the hypodermic needle was the farthest thing from my mind when I took her in my arms. And then it happened. I felt the sting of it pierce my flesh. The needle!
What are you talking about?
The needle. You stuck me with it.
Needle? Oh, I'm sorry. It was just my brooch. It's always coming open.
Brooch? I thought...
Silly. Fasten it for me, will you, please?
Yeah, sure, yes, of course.
Well, you're shaking.
Well, it's that missing hypodermic. It has me rattled. I've got to get it back.
You'll get it back?
Yes, but when? How?
Right now, Doctor. Like this.
She used the needle deftly. In one motion, plunged it in my arm. I tried to struggle to my feet. Her face was mocking me. I grabbed for her, but the drug was warm and deadening. And after a blurred moment, I was gone.
You stupid fisherman!
I could hear them from a long ways off. I came to slowly. Then I lay there listening.
Well, you bungled it again.
I only did what you told me to do. You're the one who's bungled it.
It's a good thing I caught you
They
before
were
you
both
kicked him
standing
overboard.
over me, working on me, doing everything they could to bring me to.
Now you've spoiled everything. Why did you have to rush things?
You want to know where the money is, don't you?
Well, you haven't found out, and now maybe you won't. If you'd left Joseph alone. Oh, but no, you couldn't wait. As soon as the doctor was unconscious, you had to work him over. If Joseph dies out, we'll never find out where he hid it.
It's on this boat, I know that. And I didn't hurt him, I just pushed him around a little.
Oh, that stupid temper of yours, that awful impatience. You think you could have waited for $2 million?
$2 million. Now it began to make some sense. Now everything made sense. As long as Joseph needed a doctor and wouldn't tell where the money was, we both lived. But if I couldn't keep him alive...
Get on your feet, Doc. Come on, Doc. Get on your feet.
Felix, easy.
Since when are you getting so touchy? Now, come on.
All right, I'm on my feet.
Welcome back, Doc. Now get below. The old man needs you. He's had a relapse. Stephanie, take the wheel. I said get below, Doc.
I'm not in the mood to take orders.
Maybe this'll put you in the mood.
Creased my chin with a short jab. My knees buckled. I swung at him and missed. I saw another one coming. This time I ducked and connected with a roundhouse on the side of his head that sent him reeling along the wet, narrow deck. I started after him, just as the boat came about violently, heeling over with her scuppers awash. I wildly grabbed the guy line just in time to see Felix fly into the sea. I whipped around. The girl had done it, spinning the wheel like crazy. I dashed back to the cockpit and tried to grab it away from her. She fought me like a tiger, but I finally pushed her off right at the boat and put her about. But Felix was nowhere in sight. We tacked around, searching for him, but it was useless. Well, he's gone. You killed him.
It was an accident. You ought to be glad he's gone.
Why?
Well, it was either him or you.
Your concern touches me.
Besides, we don't need him, don't you see? You know how to handle a boat, and you're a doctor. You can keep Joseph alive until we make him talk. And when we find out where his money is, we can get rid of him.
And sail away into the sunset, huh?
That's right. Just you and me.
Yeah. No thanks. I'll play out the original hand in Havana.
I don't think so, Doctor. I'm setting the course now. And if you're interested, I'm a much better shot than Felix. I won't hit the boom.
The gun glittered in the moonlight, and she was smiling at me. But I wasn't looking at her, but beyond her. At first I wasn't sure. I just sensed the movement. And then I saw him. Joseph Ingram, barefooted and in pajamas, pulling himself painfully up the companionway, forcing his body to make the effort.
Joseph!
You wanted too much, Stephanie. My money and Felix's you.
Felix is gone. He had an accident.
Like mine, I suppose. If only I hadn't been so greedy. If only you'd waited, you'd have gotten your share.
Joseph, you're sick.
You were such a little fool, Stephanie. In the heel of my shoe is a draft on the National Bank of Venezuela for $2 million payable to bearer.
So that's where it is. Thank you, Joseph. That's very generous of you.
I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't been watching. A bullet in the stomach, yet he kept coming at her, lumbering barefooted across the deck like a wounded bear in blue silk pajamas.
Not so easy.
She backed away from him. Everything had done it to him, but he kept coming.
Not so easy.
She was at the edge of the deck as he collapsed against her, his heavy arms in a death grip around her. And like a cartwheel, they spun together over the side into the inky blackness of the sea. $2 million in the heel of a shoe. Yeah, it was in the heel of the shoe, all right. I went below and found it. Just a piece of paper that 3 people had died over. $2 million, certified backwards and forwards, payable to bearer. In just a few hours, it would be daylight. I could be in Havana by noon. Back to the Martina. Back to the dispensary. Back to the endless round of seasick pills, hangover remedies, and, when I'm lucky, maybe a sprained ankle. Or Venezuela. The choice was simple. There was no risk at all. It was a cinch. It was a sure thing. It was payable to bearer.
Good afternoon, senor. I'm sorry I've kept you waiting. You presented this bank draft for payment, senor?
Yes. Are you Senor Perez?
That is right. I'm the president of the bank. This draft, it is quite a large sum.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the draft, is there?
No, senor. It is in order.
Good.
And you wish us to transfer this money to your bank in the United States?
No. As a matter of fact, I wish to open an account here.
Oh, certainly. Gomez, you will make the arrangements for the senor.
Oh, si, Senor Perez, at once.
And now, there is a lady, a countrywoman of yours, waiting to see you. Please, step this way, senor.
To see me? But who?
Oh, Joseph, I've been waiting so long. Senor Perez, is this the man who presented the draft for payment?
Si, senor.
But he isn't. Then what's happened to Joseph?
Who?
Joseph Ingram, of course.
Senor Perez, who is this woman? What is she doing here?
Well, I heard the Sidon had come in this morning with only one person aboard, so I rushed right here to the bank. But you've cashed the draft. What have you done? Killed Joseph for it?
Look, madam, I don't know what you're talking about. Just who are you, anyway?
I'm Joseph Ingram's wife.
Mrs. Ingram? But then, surely you know he died in that plane crash back in the States.
He didn't, and you know it. Joseph wasn't on that plane. He boarded the Sidon in Florida.
Now, look, madam, all the newspapers...
Joseph and I planned the whole thing. Those highly publicized statements about our divorce were just a cover-up. He was to meet me here with the money. And I know he would have if he were still alive. Senor Perez, will you call the police? I accuse this man of murdering my husband.
Si, senora.
I didn't kill him. She killed him.
She?
Stephanie, his secretary.
And where is she?
She's dead, too. He killed her.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense. Where's Felix Rouge?
You see, Felix, he was killed when he...
Yes?
Well, you see, it was like... I stopped. They were staring at me. They didn't believe me, of course. Who would ever believe me? But it had seemed like such a sure thing. And it was. Murder. Payable to bearer.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented The Sure Thing by John and Gwen Bagney. Featured in the cast were John Hoyt as the Doctor, Bill Conrad as Felix Rouge, Fay Baker as Stephanie, and Ian Wolfe as Joseph Ingram. Also heard were Don Diamond, Ted DeCorsia, and Sarah Selby. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week...
You're within a few days of your release after 8 years of horror on the prison island of New Caledonia. But between you and final freedom stands the love of a beautiful girl and the monstrous figure of Monsieur Deneux, the official executioner.
Next week, we escape with John Russell's terrifying story, The Red Mark. Good night, then, until the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. A whole family of top Hollywood stars waits to entertain your family every Sunday on CBS. It's on the Family Hour of Stars, heard over most of these same CBS stations. A half hour of top entertainment, romance, comedy, or drama, starring Irene Dunn, Ronald Colman, Loretta Young, Dana Andrews, Kirk Douglas, and Jane Wyman in turn. Your whole family will enjoy the Family Hour of Stars, Sunday on CBS, where this fall you'll hear them all. Stay tuned now for Sing It Again, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to the waterfront of Havana and to an underworld where men live and sometimes die by a bizarre code of their own. As Burnham Carter tells it in his exciting story, Night in Havana.
Something was wrong. Halfway up the street of Pious Works that evening, I realized that something was wrong. None of the regulars were to be seen. Assuredly, something was wrong. But what? And then I remembered that since I had decided to live an honest life, it was really no concern of mine. As I came abreast of the Why Worry restaurant, I saw the Dutchman, Maru, who owned a cabin cruiser and who was, consequently, a man of some prominence in the smuggling trade. He was standing on the weighing machine near the door, slapping it with his big hands.
Tio, you have a penny?
A penny? See, here.
Thanks. 193 pounds. When I reach 195, I'll switch from beer to coffee. When I hit 190, I go back to beer.
It's like the rise and fall of the tide in Havana Harbor.
2 pounds of beer to go. If you're headed for the Cafe Mosca, I'll join you.
Well, bueno. Hey, come along.
Tio, got a few dollars to lend me?
I have not seen any money in weeks. I was hoping to find a purchaser for my gun this evening.
Oh, Tio, you're kidding. You're going to sell your gun?
See?
How will you live?
Honestly.
Honestly,
Maru,
you...
Please, you are attracting attention. Quiet, you have attracted attention. Quiet.
What?
The police, Lieutenant Molina across the street.
Oh, here they come. Who's that with him?
Sergeant Ortiz, newly promoted, very ambitious, and... No, I missed a highlight game last night, Maru. I remained at home and read and stayed.
You, stand where you are.
Why, it is Lieutenant Molina and Sergeant...
Search this one, Sergeant.
Nothing, Lieutenant. This one conceals nothing.
You see, I lead a dull and peaceful life.
I see that you do. Use your handkerchief, Tio. Your lips bleeding. They seem upset.
I bear them no ill will. They have a hard life, too. It is still bleeding, huh?
Yeah. You can doctor it at the Cafe Mosca.
They must have been told to get someone for something.
You know, I held my breath during that frisk. I was afraid you might be carrying your gun.
I was? But when I saw them coming toward us, I put it in your pocket.
Oh.
May I have it now, please?
Here. That is not what I would call honorable, Tio.
Maru, there is so little honor in this world that one is just not able to toss it about indiscriminately. Tell me, does my lip look bad?
It's beginning to swell.
Amalia will be very upset.
Amalia? Who owns the Mosca?
Yes, we are betrothed.
No, I did not know that. Congratulations.
Gracias.
Come. I buy you a beer. Come on, step up to the bar.
Later, Brad. Thank you, but now I must see Amalia.
Your little one. Oh, I see your lip.
Did nothing, Amalia. Nothing. The police were in a petulant mood. There is nothing.
Oh, the police, yes, they were here. Lieutenant, wait, he gave me his card. Yes, Lieutenant Molina.
Tell me, did he mention the cause of all this ill feeling?
An American tourista, a very rich one, a very gay one. She has been robbed.
And so soon after the police chief let it be known that American tourists were not to be robbed. Amalia, what did she lose?
An emerald. An emerald of great size.
Oh.
She had it in her purse, left the purse in the Café Diablo. Tio, you had nothing to do with this matter, did you?
Oh, no, my fair one, nothing. I wish I had.
You promised, Tio, you promised.
I know, but... Amalia, it's not easy to be honest. I would have been honest years ago. Could I have earned money at it?
Little one, listen to me. After each of your transactions, they have kept you in the jail. It is like my account books. One malefaction, one payment in jail.
See.
Now you owe them nothing. There are no debts.
But you have a debt. The mortgage of $2,100 on this cafe.
Oh, let that be. Little by little we shall pay it.
But there is my pride to consider, my dove. To this marriage, you bring the Cafe Mosca. I bring nothing.
Ay, Tio. You bring your love. Is that nothing?
Oh, in your eyes it is much, see, but in the eyes of the bank, it's nada. Who is this American tourista who carries emeralds in her purse? Huh?
Oh, Mrs. Turner. She is here with her husband. They have great wealth. They came from Miami in their own cruiser. It is called the Seabird, and it is almost as large as Maru's. Theo, promise me you will not become involved.
I promise that if I do, it will be within the law.
Oh, little one, I beg
It will be within the law, I swear it to you. Did Lieutenant Molina mention a reward?
No. He said that if I acquired information concerning the emerald, I was to inform either him or Mr. and Mrs. Turner at the Hotel Flores.
Well, perhaps it would be best to learn whether there is a reward and of a size sufficient to warrant time and effort. I am going to see Senor Turner, Amalie.
Theo, little one, I am afraid.
Oh, there is nothing to fear. An honest man need never have anything to fear. Let me have Lieutenant Molina's card, my dove. It may help me to impress the Americans.
Yes?
Senor Stern.
Yeah?
I am Lieutenant Molina of the secret police. My card.
Well, come in, Lieutenant Molina. Tell me, is there another detective with that name? It seems to me...
Well, it is a common patron name, like in your country, Smith.
Yeah. Well, have you found the emerald?
Regrettably, senor, no. But I would like to talk about it.
And I'll call my wife. She's the one who lost it. The knucklehead. Lucille!
Here I am. Don't yell so, Ducky.
This is Lieutenant Molina of the secret police.
It is a great honor, senora.
You see that, Ducky? It's just my hand.
I saw. Sit down, Lieutenant. You care for a drink?
No, thank you. Not while on duty.
Well, what's on your mind, Lieutenant? My wife and I have a dinner date
It has
tonight.
occurred to us, the chief and I, that although we will, of course, eventually catch the thief, it will take some time. You understand, there are 1,000 rat holes and rats of many nations and much cunning.
We don't have much time. Mrs. Sterner and I are leaving Havana tomorrow afternoon.
And that brings me precisely to my point, the matter of a reward.
Oh, no. Not another nickel. If I can't grease the wheels with $750, they just won't be greased. I'm a reasonable man, Lieutenant, but I'm no sucker.
Of course you are not. 750.
Ducky, I'm sure the lieutenant knows his business. If he thinks the reward ought to be boosted, then boost it. I want that emerald back.
Now, look, Lucille,
Would 1,000 be better, Lieutenant?
Oh, indeed it would, senora.
Then offer 1,000, Ducky.
You see, senor Stenner, whether I go between...
Yeah, I know how it works. Okay, call it 1,000.
$1,000? It would not pay the mortgage on the Café Mosca, of course, but considering that virtue is said to be its own reward for being, it was handsome. I spent the next 2 hours seeking knowledge of the emerald, but the activities of the police had forced the best of the regulars into hiding, and I learned nothing. And then, as I was walking along the Street of Souls in the old city, a voice spoke to me from the darkness of the gateway to the ancient convent known as El Corazon.
Theo Martinez.
Your servant, senor.
Got a matter we'd like to talk to you about.
We?
Him and me.
Oh, your pardon. I could not see your friend in the shadows.
We got a mutual acquaintance. Georgie Young.
Georgie Young? Oh, see. I have not seen him since the profitable years of Prohibition.
Before we left Miami, he said to look you up if we ever needed someone to work an angle. He gave us his letter of introduction.
Oh, thank you. Strike a match, please.
Yeah.
A little closer, please. Dear friend Theo, these muchachos are okay. I have a deal with them, just like in the old days. Georgie. Well, you know my name. What is yours?
Moore, Gus Moore.
My name's none of your business.
Stop it, Leo, will you? His name's Leo Walsh. We only been here in Cuba a little while.
You said that you needed somebody to work an angle.
Yeah. We got a shipment on the Florida coast, just beyond Key West. We want it brought here tonight. There's 400 rifles.
Please. I am not interested in the nature of your cargo. You tell me that you are importers, and that is all an honest man need know.
Yeah.
Is it Georgie Young who provides you with the merchandise?
Yeah.
Just like in the old days. It can be done, gentlemen, but it will cost money, of course. $1,500.
That's highway robbery. Let me rough him up a little.
Stop it, Leo, will you? Okay, Martinez, $1,500. Cash on delivery.
Half of it now.
$300 now.
I'm sorry, no.
Well, that's all the cash we have.
How do you propose to get more?
How much is this worth?
The American Turistas Emera.
Huh?
What's so funny?
Oh, just the ways of fortune. I'm sorry you would not understand.
You talk too much.
Yeah, see, one of my great failings.
I can fix that.
Cut it out, Leo. Well, how about it? That rock's worth more than $1,200.
Oh, much more. But the question is, what can one unload it for? Tell me, how did you acquire this? Huh?
Oh, a dame I picked up at a bar while the husband was dead drunk. Well?
I will make the arrangements. You give me $300 on the emerald.
Yeah, you get the $300 now as a binder. I'll hand you the stone when you've delivered.
Very well, I agree. Now, you listen carefully to me. You will both meet me at the Café Mosca at 11 o'clock. Mm-hmm. We shall drive from there to a certain beach where we pick up the boat. Is that clear?
Yeah. Leo will meet you.
And you?
Oh, I'm staying at Havana. I got to make arrangements for the truck. I'll meet the boat when it comes back and hand over the emerald. Just tell me where.
The beach at Marianao. There's a dirt road. You cannot miss this. Now, 3 hours to Key West, 15 minutes to load, 3 hours back to Cuba. Mm-hmm. The boat will arrive at Marianao by 5 tomorrow morning. Is it well?
Yeah. Here's your $300.
Much thanks, senor.
You know what I do to chappies who talk too much?
Stop it, Leo, will you? He'll meet you at the Mosque at 11.
It will be my pleasure. Well, is that coffee you drink, Maru?
Oh, sit down, Tio. Sit down. Yeah, it's coffee, all right. I hit 195 a half hour ago.
Well,
what's up?
If you are not too busy tonight, there's a little shipment to be moved in from Key West.
Oh, how much?
$1,000 for you.
And for you?
Only 100.
Go on. What do you think? I'm stupid?
Oh, you are a devil. One can hide nothing from you. Very well, I receive 150.
Ah, you.
Is it a deal?
What time do we leave?
Around 11.
I'll have the boat ready just off Guanabaco. You know the dock, sir?
Yes.
Bring the 1,000 with you.
I will give you the 1,000 tomorrow, soon after we return.
Bring it with you, or we do not even leave. Well?
I will bring it with me.
Good. Have some coffee.
No, gracias. It is necessary now to see Amelia. Until 11, then.
Until 11.
Theo, I was worried, little one. You were gone so long.
Oh, I had much business to transact. Oh, Amelia, I'm working on a deal, a very big deal. So big that I need $1,000 to swing it.
Theo.
See, I have 300 and I need 700 more. Amelia, will you lend it to me?
I have but 800 in the whole world.
Well, lend me 7. Oh, if this deal proceeds as planned, Amelia, you and I will be married this week, and then I shall settle down as an honest cafe keeper.
Ah, Theo, for that I would give all the money there is.
Where is this boat? I don't see it.
Impatient, Senor Walsh. It's the end of the dock.
A dock, he calls it. Some crummy dock.
No, quiet, please. Maru.
Here, Theo.
Captain Maru, this is Senor Leo Walsh.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You, have some money, Theo?
Here. $1,000 as agreed. Senor Walsh will guide you to the exact spot at Key West. And, gentlemen, I wish you both a good journey.
Save your wishes for somebody else. You're coming with us.
No. I make it a point never
I say you are, so does this.
I have a repugnance for guns between associates.
And I don't trust people who talk so much. You're coming with us. Now get in.
I shall do as you say.
All right, now you, Skipper.
Thank you.
Some tub.
You'll never see a faster one.
How fast?
40 knots.
All right, shove off. How come you're so quiet, big mouth?
Oh, I was just thinking. Was thinking that the life of honesty contains almost as much interest as the kind I have formerly led.
In just a moment, we will return to Escape.
But first, a favorite program with CBS listeners who want to keep abreast of the times is the news report by Alan Jackson, broadcast every Sunday morning over most of these same CBS stations. Jackson is one of CBS's ace reporters who has covered important world events in New York, London, and Berlin. Now stationed in CBS Washington News Bureau, Alan Jackson brings you the news in a clear, informed manner that has become a CBS tradition. Remember to listen this Sunday to Alan Jackson and the News, a regular CBS feature.
Tune in this fall for the shows that you love best of all. Listen carefully, here's the address. It's CBM CBS.
And now back to Escape and the second act of Night in Havana.
In 3 hours, we were passing through the Florida Keys. Maru had no difficulty in following Senor Walsh's directions. There was a place where a finger of land got into the water, an old rum runner's landing base, which I remembered well. A truck was waiting, and 3 men who came forward as we tied to the dock of rotting planks. Senor Walsh spoke to them briefly, and in 10 minutes the heavy crates were on board and we were off again, clearing the land quietly at a low speed and then roaring into the open.
Come on, pour it on, pour it on.
I'm giving it full throttle now. Relax, Sonny.
Listen, squarehead.
You talking to me?
Who else? I don't like for you to call me Sonny.
I do it because you're so bright.
How would you like a third eye?
Senor Walsh, Maru, enough. Carry this as far as you please once we are on shore, but until then...
Yeah, we will go into it first after we
I led them to the squabbling, stretched out on the bench in the cockpit, my head on my arms, gazing into the sky, and soothed by the powerful hum of the engines, so steady that they were in themselves a sort of silence. I thought of Amalia, and how soft and comfortable she was, and that we were both at the right age for marriage. Steady people who knew that what we had was worth a dozen romantic flights to the moon. And I thought of how now there would be a little money for the raising of the mortgage and the Café Mosca. And then I dozed. And then...
What's the matter? How come you cut the motor?
Shut up. Theo, are you awake? Do you hear?
See. Where are your binoculars?
Binoculars? What are you looking for?
Coast Guard.
Where are we, Maru?
About 2 miles off the coast, between Matanzas and Havana.
I see them. They're to the west, about the same distance south. What is the time?
4:20. Sun will be up in less than 2 hours. Which way are they heading?
I cannot... Oh, there's a searchlight. The CS.
They were tipped off. They were looking for us. Somebody talked. Martinez?
Shut up.
It's radar. They're also equipped. I have heard that. They come toward us.
Dump the cargo. When they come, we've been fishing.
No, every cent I got is tied up in those boxes.
I said dump the gun.
And I said no. We'll run for it. This boat's faster than that one.
At this angle, they have us cut off from the open sea. If we go west, we pass Havana. If we go east, Matanzas. As soon as we move, the radio for help, we call.
And I said we'll run for it. Now take the wheel, fat boy, and pour it on. But on. They're moving fast.
I command you.
No, you don't. This does. Get back to the wheel.
Careful, Maru. Careful. He's frightened.
Put away your gun, Sonny.
Stand where you are.
I said... Shoot me, will you?
Enough, Maru, enough. His spine has cracked like a banana stalk. Enough, I say.
Gio, I hurt bad.
Lie down here. Let me see.
Well?
Ugly, Maru. Very ugly.
Help me to the wheel.
Yeah.
Then drop the dinghy and row to shore. I try to make it back to Key West.
You need care immediately. We'll both go to shore in the dinghy.
But my boat's a Coast Guard.
I will turn it out to sea and set the throttles. She'll give them a run for their money.
But when they overtake us, they'll find the cargo. They know the boat is mine.
One step at a time, Maru. At the moment, we will do as I say. First, we feed Senor Walsh to the fishes. Then the dinghy goes over the side. Then you and I. I landed the dinghy only a short distance below the place where I'd left the car. Before 5:30, Maru was in good hands, and I was at the Flores Hotel, knocking at the door of the suite occupied by Senor and Senora Stern. At that moment, I would have surrendered all thoughts of profit for this night's labor in return for assurance that only Amalia's $700 would not be lost.
Lieutenant Molina. This is a sweet
I
time.
give you 1,000 apologies, senor. Only an emergency forces me to do this. We can't get your emerald now. Do you understand?
Yeah, sure. But
Only we need your cruiser. You must come with me in your cruiser. And now. I assure you it is our only chance. There is no danger, senor.
All right, I'll get dressed.
I'll be waiting for you across the street in the black touring car. You come quickly, wear dark clothes, bring the money. But quickly, senor, quickly.
Where are we going?
We are bound for the beach called Marianao.
Never heard of it.
Has a wooden pier. Should be just about light enough to distinguish. We arrived. Hey, you have brought the cash.
Yeah. How much do I have to pay?
The maximum, senor, $1,000. They would not do it for less. I am sorry.
No, it's okay. I didn't think you could keep him down even to that. Am I on course?
Yes, exactly on course. We are almost there. I think that you had better give me the money now.
Yeah. It's in my right hip pocket, Lieutenant. Help yourself.
Much thanks. Senor, I am sorry that our original laxity in guarding the possessions of your wife has put you to all this trouble.
No, forget it. It's one piece with the rest of the trip. I've had a lousy time.
Oh, I am most sorry. We naturally prefer to have the touristas love Cuba.
No, it's not your fault. I was mostly too drunk to see any.
I have always tried. Senor, there is more than $1,000 in this pocket. There is 1,100.
Oh, yeah. I meant to tell you. The thousands for the emerald, the other hundreds for you, for all of your courtesy and attention.
Oh, regulations forbid me to accept, senor. But since it would be discourteous, much thanks. We are past Hamanitas now, I think. Yes, there is the dock at Maranao. Hey, let me take the wheel.
There's someone on shore is blinking a light there. 3 times.
I have noticed.
Hey, what are you doing? Heading out to sea?
No. I will back in. So. And now comes the most important part, senor. Now, when I bring the boat to a halt at the dock, you must take the wheel and keep your hand on the throttle with the motor running. And when I say to you, now, you throw in the clutch and full speed ahead. Do you understand this?
Well, sure, but why? It's all arranged, isn't it?
See, it is arranged, and this is the most crucial part of the arrangement.
Okay, whatever you say, Lieutenant.
All right, you take the wheel. Now remember, keep your hand on the throttle.
Don't forget easy.
Here comes my man along the dock now. Remember, when I say now.
Go ahead, let's get this over with.
Senor Moore?
Martinez?
See, everything has gone well.
Where's Watch?
At the wheel.
Oh, good. Throw me a line. I'll get my boys to start unloading.
First, before you tie us up, we will conclude our affair, huh? You have the emerald for me?
Oh, yeah. Here, take it.
Good. Much thanks. Here is our cable. Make fast the boat, huh?
Yeah, I got it.
Now, senor, now! Lie down on the deck.
What?
But quickly, you will not be surprised forever. Lie down, stay there.
Well, I don't understand.
I think we'll soon be out of range.
You lead an interesting life, Molina.
It has its moments.
When I saw you handing the cable, I was sure I'd rip the stern off her as soon as I gave it throttle.
Well, senor, I took the precaution to untie it on our side first. Look, the sun is rising. Senor, do you know of any satisfaction to compare with that accompanying a good job well done? 3 days later, I was sitting at a table in the Café Moscow with Maru. His wounds still troubled him, and he had lost much weight. A matter he was remedying as quickly as he could.
2 more beers.
Better make it 3. Visitor approaches. No. Don't turn your head. It's Lieutenant Molina.
Oh, they found my boat.
You are ready with the story?
It was stolen while I was ill. I know nothing of it.
Bueno. I will testify to it. No, Maru. I have lost my taste for reading. I now spend most evenings at the highlight games, and I find
Captain
that
Maru? Yeah? The Coast Guard has found a boat that belongs to you. Do you have so many that one may be lost without your feeling the necessity of reporting it?
I've been ill. I've not been down to the harbor these 3 days.
I have a question to ask.
Ask it, then.
They found several large crates on board.
They did?
Do you know what we discovered in them? Scrap metal.
Scrap metal? I use it for ballast. Care for a beer?
Si, to celebrate my wedding, which occurs this afternoon.
So I have heard. You are going to lead an honest life, Theo?
Si. I have been experimenting with it, and I find that it suits me.
Well, keep it confidential. Otherwise, the budget for the police department may be cut to the bone.
Goodbye, Lieutenant. Go with God.
Heard what he said. The crates contain scrap metal.
I'm not surprised. In the note my friend Georgie Young sent to me, he wrote that he was in on a deal just like in the old days.
Huh?
Well, in the old days, he sold many a bootlegger barrels of whiskey which contained only water.
Oh.
In that way, you see, he did not break the law and may be said to have earned his money honorably. As I may be said to do, too.
You call owning a cafe earning money honorably?
Well, it depends on the clientele.
Huh?
And in that respect, Maru, perhaps it would be better, after the wedding, of course, if you took your custom elsewhere.
Suppose I tell you that from now on I will be as honest as you yourself. Will you let me patronize this bar?
Oh, gladly, Maru. But, of course, I will be doubly watchful of the cash register.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Night in Havana by Burnham Carter, adapted for radio by Walter Brown Newman. Featured in the cast were Tony Barrett as Tio, Alan Reed as Maru, and Janet Nolan as Amelia and Mrs. Sterner. Also heard were Ted Von Eltz, Bill Conrad, Jeff Corey, and Jack Webb. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week...
You are tortuously worming your way inch by inch through a narrow pipe deep under the ground, unable to turn back, not knowing what lies ahead. Possible death or escape.
Next week, we escape with William Corcoran's grim story, The Blue Wall. Good night, then, until the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Young and old benefit by the Community Chest Red Feather Services. When you make your contribution this year, you'll be helping to support the Boy and Girl Scouts, the YMCA, and the YWCA, child guidance clinics and day nurseries. So give generously to the Red Feather Services. Stay tuned now for Sing It Again, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape. Designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to the English Channel in wartime, and to a harrowing night, crossing those gray, cold waters in a small boat, with the threat of instant death in command, as David Devine tells it in his exciting story, Flood on the Goodwin.
That one?
Where?
Off to starboard.
No, it's a mattress.
Blasted fog. Couldn't see the living, let alone the dead.
I don't think we'll be finding any more.
Not the way the fog is settling down now. Where do you figure the patrol boat is?
She ought to be about a couple of 100 yards to port. Take it easy now, Uncle. Don't want to ram us.
Don't you worry about me, Dundas. Just you start singing out.
Patrol boat ahoy! Patrol boat ahoy!
Captain Matt of the Mary East.
They sound to be dead ahead, Mac. Better cut it back. Oh, I see her.
They've come about it.
We're coming around just stern.
Get any more?
Yes, 3. Watch out for those dinghies.
I see them.
They're a hand there. 3 more coming aboard. Any alive?
No, all 3 are drowned.
Come on, Mac. Let's get them up there.
Don't you bother, Dundas. Hey there! You send down a couple of men.
Sure.
My mate here, he's only got 1 flipper.
Oh, now, look, Mac, that doesn't make any difference.
What's the matter? You ashamed of it?
Oh, no, but...
Forward there, men.
Forward, right.
I can swing my load like any man.
Be sure I get my top back.
Right.
Don't let it get you, boy. There's lots of amputees working these days.
Amputee? Look, must you use that expression?
Amputee is what you call a one-armed man. Amputee. What's wrong with it? Better than what you call those things they're hoisting there.
Amputee. I hate that word.
Bloaters, you call them. Man's been floating around dead in the water. He gets bloated, see? Bloated.
Very pretty. You know what you call a gabby old goat like you?
No, never mind now. Never mind.
That's the buck.
How many been brought in to you so far?
Counting your 3, that makes 30.
30? You don't say.
Lucky we got this fog. Without it, we'd be sitting ducks for any Stukas or Messerschmitts that might be about.
Or U-boats.
Or U-boats. That's right.
Was it a U-boat sent her down?
No, man they brought in an hour ago, he said it was a time bomb.
Sabotage.
Yes. Went off in the forward hold.
Huh?
Boom, bubble, bubble, bubble.
Boom, bubble, bubble. You hear that, Dundas?
I heard.
My nephew lost his flipper in the RAF. Taking it real hard.
Oh, you shouldn't take it hard.
No, who says I shouldn't?
No, don't get sore, laddie. I'm just trying to cheer you, don't you know?
Yes, well, cheer me by getting your feet off this boat so we can shove off.
Sure, laddie, sure.
Casting off.
Going back to Dover?
Might as well. Fog's in for the night. We'll just make it by dark.
Hello. Cheerio.
Cheerio. You didn't have to bite his head off.
Lay off me, Mac.
You didn't mean any harm.
I said lay off, Mac, lay off.
All right.
30 of them.
So that's what's eating you.
Sabbath, sir. Can you imagine doing a thing like that? Can you see a man doing it?
Well, it's war, you know.
War. Fighting is war.
They didn't all drown.
No, only 29 of them. Didn't they say one was alive?
Yes.
It must be awful to drown. It's an awful way to die.
Wonder if it'll clear tomorrow.
Wharf up ahead.
Yes. Good navigating, Dundas.
Ought to be right ahead of us. Mary? We're coming in, dear. Dead ahead, Mac.
Right.
There, I'll jump it.
Hello, you two.
Hello, Mary.
Hello.
How was it, Uncle Mac?
Terrible, dear. Just terrible.
Were there many?
30.
Oh, dear.
That's it.
Mac, how's the fuel?
Ample. We didn't use a quarter of it.
Are you going to fish tonight?
Ask Mac. It's his boat.
Fishing tonight, Uncle Mac?
In this fog? I should say not.
Dundas can navigate for you in the water. They say it's as calm as a bathtub.
I don't know.
I brought you food in case you're going out again.
I don't know. I think that husband of yours needs some sleep.
Are you going to start again?
What's wrong?
All day long he's complaining like an old woman. Just because he's had the bad luck to lose his fin.
Fin flipper, why can't you say arm?
See what I mean?
Do you know you are a little rough about it, Uncle Mac?
What ought I do? Help him feel sorry for himself?
Oh, cut it, both of you.
There was a man to see you, Uncle Mac.
Who?
We didn't say. He said he'd drop back.
Oh. What did he look like?
Very tall, distinguished looking.
Who's that, Mac?
Got me. Tall, you say?
Mm-hmm. And carrying a little briefcase.
Come for the payments on the boat, Mac.
No. Would this be him?
Oh, yes. You're back. Just in time to catch them.
Good, very good.
You were looking for me?
Yes. Yes, you're Captain Mac.
That's right.
And who is this?
Mr. Dundas, my nephew.
The husband of this lady.
Look, mister, who are you and what do you want?
Very simple. Must forgive my questioning. When one is engaged in my work, one can't be too careful.
Your work?
Intelligence.
What's that got to do with us?
I want to charter your boat for a trip.
Oh, government work, eh?
Yes. A secret mission.
Where is it you want to go?
To Ostend. Tonight.
Belgium. That's a fair haul. There's a U-boat.
The fog will cover you.
What do you pay?
The Crown provides handsomely in these cases. £100.
You're on.
Wait a minute, Mac.
Huh?
Mind showing us your credentials, mister?
I shouldn't mind at all, fellow. Fact is, I'm not carrying any.
You're not, huh?
This isn't what you'd call a casual visit, you know.
Oh, use your head, Dundas. He's going where the Nazis are.
No credentials. And would you mind explaining why you're sniffing around a little fishing boat like this, when you could cross on one of those big, fast torpedo boats they got over at the yard?
I find this man insufferable, Captain. Now, what do you say? Time's growing short.
Why don't you take the torpedo boat? Or the sweeper. They got sweepers there, too, you know.
As a matter of fact, you should be able to understand. Those are government boats. Might be seen by one of the enemy shore stations.
In this fog? You're a liar, mister.
And you are a very astute fellow. Into the boats, all of you?
A gun!
Yes, my ticket to Ostend.
Put that thing down.
Look out, Mac. He's serious.
Indeed I am. Now, in.
Do what he says, Mac.
Start your motor.
Make me.
Shall I?
Start it, Mac.
This is crazy.
You, untie the ropes. You, miss, sit up there.
You don't stand a chance.
We shall see. I'll sit up front with the lady.
Front? You don't know much about boats, do you?
No, and I shan't pretend to.
Uh-huh.
Listen, mister. The harbor entrance is closed up. They got the submarine nets in there.
I happen to know they're open until 8. I'd better warn you, no tricks. I'm very good with a gun.
You are, eh? Dundas. He says he's very good.
Shut up. Let's go.
So, you're a Nazi.
That's right.
You talk like an Englishman.
Oh, really?
A Nazi. What are you, a spy?
You could say that.
What are you going back to the continent for? The war's not over.
What time do you think we'll hit the Belgian coast?
Around 2. You didn't answer my question.
What was that?
Why are you leaving England? Scared?
If you like. As a matter of fact, I'm returning because I've completed my mission.
And what was that?
Matter of a bomb.
Sabotage?
Naturally.
That ship. The one that went down off the coast. Was that your work?
Yes. I planted the bomb in the hole this morning before she sailed from Dover.
Stinking, filthy, bloody...
Hold it, Mac. Hold it.
Don't let him curse. I find him an amusing old gaffer.
30 men drowned because of you.
30? Dear me. There were 45 aboard, you know.
It was 29, Mac.
29, 30. What does it matter? This big, skinny Nazi, this sneak in the dark with his mission completed.
Well, as a matter of fact, we were only joking, mister. Nobody was drowned.
Oh, what are you talking about? 29?
Your sense of security is a little delayed. One arm.
Don't you call me one arm.
Oh, sorry.
What's the time, Prentice?
Quarter of.
Ought to be passing Goodwin Sands.
Tide will be over them now.
What time do they expose this time of year?
Low tide's at 1.
That means we get a fast ride back anyhow.
If he lets us come back.
Lousy nuts. How do we know you won't kill us when we let you off?
You have my word.
Yeah.
Oh, don't take on, dear.
I cannot help it. I'm fighting.
Let her come back here with us.
No.
See how tough he is? Shoots women.
If necessary.
I'd like to see you get that close to me.
Would you?
Yes. Look, Nazi. I'm walking toward you.
Matt, don't. You're asking for it, you know.
Bloody Nazi pig.
Don't take another step, Captain.
Look, man! Bloody pig!
I'll go back.
He can't hear you, girl. Don't slow down, One Arm.
I want to get him.
He's dead. He's very dead.
He was a good man. He deserves burial.
And burial he's got. I'll push your throttle back up.
No.
Your wife is next, One Arm.
Thunder.
That's better. And now, we continue our little voyage.
In just a moment, we will return to Escape. But first, a show that brings laughter to millions week after week. That's something to be proud of. A show that wins a top award in critical competition. That's something to be proud of, too. And when a show comes along that does both, CBS proudly passes it along to you. You hear it exclusively now on most of these same CBS stations. You Bet Your Life, starring Groucho Marx. And there's the Bing Crosby Show, Burns and Allen, Lum and Abner. There's the unbeatable lineup CBS has for you every Wednesday night. This fall, you hear them all on CBS. And now back to Escape and the second act of Blood on the Goodwin.
How much longer, Dundas?
About an hour.
I notice you change course from time to time. Why is that?
The channel current. You ride with it, you make better time.
I see. And you'd like to be rid of my company as quickly as possible.
That's right.
I'm glad you're being reasonable. The old man was a fool.
You think so, huh?
Of course, and so do you.
Why do you say that?
You've seen the war. You know how it is.
That's right. I know how it is.
Thunder, don't talk like that.
Why? What's wrong, Mary?
Don't talk with him. It killed Uncle Mac. I'd like to talk to him.
Well, we find each other very interesting, Mary. Don't we?
Oh, yes, indeed. Tell me, how did you lose your arm?
RAF. I was a navigator.
A very good one, I imagine.
Yes.
Did it, happen over England?
No, Bremen.
Bremen. I see. You chaps did a very thorough job at Bremen.
Yes.
You ought to be complimented.
Thank you.
Thunder.
Relax, Mary, relax.
Oh.
You must understand, Mary.
What?
May I call you Mary? You must understand it's a very extraordinary thing for the soldiers of warring nations to get together for a chat like this.
Take a nap, Mary.
Take a nap?
Yes, why don't you? Here. You can pull this tarpaulin over.
No, not that.
What?
It's got blood on it, that tarpaulin.
Blood? But really, the old man was over there.
Not from him.
Oh?
We spent the day picking up after you.
I see. And you used the tarpaulin for the bodies?
Yes.
Well, then, Mary. Of course, we mustn't use that.
Please. May I go back to where my husband is?
No, you may not.
Why? Why can't
I'll tell you why you may not. You two are desperate, despite your husband's conversational manner. I should like to avoid the possibility of your rushing me.
You see how it is, Mary?
I'm sure she understands.
Just be very quiet, Mary. Everything will be all right.
Of course, a lot depends on you, Dennis.
Why do you say that?
Don't you know what I'm talking about?
Why, no.
That wrench you picked up about 15 minutes ago. It's right behind you on the ledge.
Thwart.
Thwart, then. It's right behind you on the thwart. Do you mind dropping it overboard like a good fellow?
Oh, that'd be a foolish waste. Wartime, you know. Wrenches are hard to come by.
Yes, I'm sure. Then why not slide it over here?
All right.
Huh? Slide it. Even if you could hit me accurately enough to disable me, the gun would go off and... You know?
I know. Here.
Thank you, Dennis. Now then, where were we?
Soldiers from warring nations.
Oh, yes. Remarkable meeting. Gives us a chance to refresh ourselves on what it is we're fighting about.
Dundas is fighting men who sabotage ships.
Was, you mean, don't you?
Well,
Was. Now I fight nothing.
I envy you. Unfortunately, I am still able. So, Miss, carry on.
And I find it a little difficult to... Oh, excuse me.
What's wrong?
Navigation. I have to check my course.
Oh, by all means. What course are you steering?
Why don't you come and look?
No, I don't think I'd better.
Why not?
You might have another wrench there. Or perhaps you'll try to take my gun. Which case I'd have to shoot. Have to kill you. Then where would I be? I might steer all the way back to Dover without knowing it.
That's so.
And then I should have to kill your wife so she wouldn't inform. You see how it is.
How do you know I'm not tricking you?
Oh, I'm sure you're not. If we don't arrive by 3, I'm going to kill her anyway. Then, if you should continue to be stubborn, there are ways of forcing you.
You mean torture?
Ordinarily, it's very difficult to do alone. But in your case, one-armed, it should be comparatively simple.
Well, let's not waste words on all that. I'm taking you where you want to go. And I'm counting on you to keep your word to allow a safe departure.
Well, of course.
I don't believe in Dundas.
But why? Why not?
Because you're what you are. And because Dundas might know something your people want to find out. Dundas, don't you see that they'll torture you? He's lying, Dundas.
Please, Mary, please, don't worry.
You have my word. My sacred words. On my honor. As a gentleman.
You see, Mary? We have nothing to worry about.
Yes, it must be wonderful to be out of the fighting.
Not bad.
I'll be glad when it's over.
Think it'll be over soon?
Quite. You've heard of our buzz bombs.
Yes.
That's only the beginning. We're developing weapons 1,000 times as terrible. Oh, 10,000 times as effective.
Really? Tell me about them.
Your wife seems to have gone to sleep.
Where? I can't see very well in this dark.
Against my knee.
Good. About your new weapons. You were saying 10,000 times as terrible.
Yes, there are rockets, the like of which the English have not dreamed. Rockets that can travel 100 miles, 300. No one knows what their limitations will be. Radio controlled. Speed about 30,000 miles an hour. Altitude, 60 miles. And what they will carry, I leave to your imagination.
Why leave it to my imagination?
What?
You wouldn't tell me all this highly secret business if it were your intention to allow us safe departure now, would you?
I'm sure your agents know this by now.
I don't know. But something tells me you've come to a decision about us.
How much longer until we hit shore?
Not long now. I'm bringing her into a deserted beach a few miles outside of Ostend.
I see.
If you look ahead, you may see the shoreline soon.
Straight ahead?
Yes.
It's impossible. This fog is too much.
What? I've got it, Dundas.
Give me that gun, you...
Here, Dundas.
Good work, Mary. Stand back, fella. That's it. Now raise them good and high.
Oh, Dundas, I thought he'd never drop his wrist. I waited and waited.
Here, Mary. Take the wheel. Hold that course.
Yes, Dundas.
Well.
It's a remarkable woman, your wife.
Yes, indeed.
Unfortunately, there's no cartridge in the chamber.
Well, it's pointed at your gut. Why don't I pull the trigger and see if you're telling the truth?
Perhaps you'd better not.
I don't see why not, if it's empty.
No. No, it's loaded.
Huh?
You, I wonder if you're the type who can kill the man he's facing.
I don't know. I've never done it.
It's very difficult, you know. Just think of me as a fellow human being, flesh and blood like yourself. Think of the infinite genius that went into making this body of mine. Skin, muscles, arteries, veins, organs, vessels in the blood. The blood. Murder is a very difficult thing when you're face to face with the murdered.
I know. I don't feel as though I could kill you right at this minute. But suppose I try. All I have to do is squeeze the trigger ever so little.
Wait. No, don't.
Why not?
My life is worth a lot to me. More, believe it or not, than my pride, my honor, my love of Germany. Oh, much, much more than that.
All right, have you a proposition?
Dundas.
Be still, Mary. I know what I'm doing.
Yes, you keep out of this.
What's your proposition?
Money. You're going to need money, aren't you? A one-arm has a tough time of it, and peacetime jobs are hard to get.
Go on.
I have several accounts in London banks. Big accounts. I can write you a check. You can cash it tomorrow.
How much?
£1,000.
I can't hear you.
Dundas, don't do this.
2,000. 3. 5, then, and that's all the money I have in the world.
What about on you?
Yes, in the briefcase. £150.
Don't move.
But the briefcase...
I'll take care of that after you leave. Write the check for £5,000.
Oh, Dundas, please. Please don't do it.
Your wife doesn't understand these things.
No. This is the way of the world, dear.
Dundas.
And for this, I let you off at the beach. Of course, I want to warn you against mentioning my name.
But of course. Here. Here's your check.
Thank you.
Aren't you going to shoot me now?
No. Bargain's a bargain. I'll follow through.
Why, you are an honest man.
Deal's a deal.
Yes, that's right.
I'd better take the wheel.
Shall I take the gun, Dundas?
No.
Please, Dundas, please, let me hold it.
No, Mary.
Well, why in the name of heaven can't I? You can't steer and cover him at the same time, not with one hand.
If you take the gun, you'll shoot him, Mary. I know you.
Oh, no, I wouldn't.
Yes, you would. And that'd be dishonest, Mary. We've made a deal, this man and I.
Yes, an honorable deal.
But how to steer and all, that does pose a problem. Mary, bring me that big wrench.
All right, Dundas.
What are you going to do?
Since I can't handle the wheel and the gun, and since Mary's not to be trusted, I'll keep the wrench for just in case. And solve the gun problem very simply.
Dundas, you fool!
And you, sir? You'll find a fishing line with lead on the end of it right up there in the front locker.
What?
I'm going to slow down now. We're almost there. You'll do the sounding for me.
Yes, of course.
You deliberately threw that gun overboard. You're selling out.
5,000 pounds, dear. As the Yanks put it, that ain't hay.
I have the line.
All right, throw it ahead of you. Then feel when it touches bottom. Then measure the depth by your spread arms.
Here it goes.
Oh, Dundas, darling, I know the war's a shock to you, losing your arm and all, but don't do this. You'll regret it. You'll regret it all the rest of your days.
Hit bottom.
How deep?
2, 3, 4, 5. 5, that's all.
All right, we're closing in on the coast. Swing again.
Right.
We'll hear the surf in a minute now. It'll not be very strong. It's low tide, you know.
2, 3 and a half.
All right, get ready to jump.
Jump?
Now, this boat hasn't got wheels. You'll have to walk the last 10 feet in.
All right.
Get ready. Here we are. The minute you feel a scrape bottom, jump out and push the bow around.
Right.
Dundas. Shh.
Here I go.
Good night.
Good night. Sucker!
Why, sucker?
That check. The bank is short of funds to the name I signed.
Oh, really? Found the beach?
Yes, I'm on it.
Take a few steps.
Why?
You'll see.
It stops. There's water beyond.
The bank is short of funds.
That beach is short of sand.
Where am I?
You're on Goodwin Sands. Dover's just 6 miles that way.
Which way?
I didn't say. And if you're thinking of swimming, I can tell you, you don't stand a chance.
You thief! You mother of murder!
It's low tide now, but wait a while. In a few hours, it'll be 10 feet over your head. Drowning's not pleasant, Nazi. If you had your gun, you could shoot yourself. You could hang yourself with your belt, but there are no trees. So think about those men you drowned today. Think about them while you wait. I may be around to pick up your body soon. Maybe. Good night, Bloater!
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Blood on the Goodwins by David Devine, adapted for radio by James Poe. Featured in the cast were Jack Edwards as Dundas, Will Gear as Uncle Mac, and Barton Yarborough as the Nazi. Also heard were Betty Lou Gerson and Eric Snowden. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week.
You are high in the mountains of Peru, digging frantically for a vast fortune in golden Inca relics. Upon your success hangs the fate of a beautiful woman and your own life.
Next week we escape with a thrilling tale of one of the most murderous treasure hunts ever made, as David Dodge tells it in his exciting story, Plunder of the Sun. Goodbye, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. A fellow named Bob Hope will turn up on the Bing Crosby Show this Wednesday night, so don't say we didn't alert you for the show of the week. This verbal tennis match between Bing and Bob will be broadcast on most of these same CBS stations, along with the Groucho Marx Show, Burns and Allen, and Lum and Abner, all Wednesday night CBS features.
Tune in this fall for the shows that you love best of all.
Listen carefully.
Here's the address. It's CBS.
Stay tuned now for Life with Luigi, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to the high mountains of Peru and the hunt for a fabulous treasure of ancient Inca relics, for which men are willing to die and to kill, as David Dodge tells it in his exciting novel, Plunder of the Sun. Living the way I do by my wits, you get into all kinds of risky deals, but I had no idea when I took Senor Berrien's little job that it would lead me to terrible danger, to a beautiful woman, and to a fabulous buried treasure of the Incas. I didn't have to take the job, but you see, there was Ana Luz. She was Senor Berrien's nurse, pushed him around in his wheelchair, gave him his heart medicine, and so on. I first saw her that day when we all met in the park at Valparaiso. Here, let me brush that bench off for you first, Senorita. It's pretty dirty, I'm afraid.
Gracias, senor.
Not at all.
You are simpático, senor. Senor Corby.
Right, Senor Berrien. Now, what can I do for you?
I am told that you are a capable man. One who can be persuaded sometimes to take on a delicate assignment.
Is it legal?
Senor Colby, I am a reputable businessman. There are, however, complications.
For instance?
For instance, I am going by boat back to my home in Peru. I wish to take along a small package. But this package contains an ancient Peruvian relic of great historical value. Peruvian law prohibits the export of such things. But this was smuggled out of Peru. I have come to Chile and recovered it, and I wish to return it to its rightful place in Peru. Unfortunately, however, Chilean law also prohibits its removal, and so...
So you want me to smuggle it for you?
Smuggle? Well, not exactly, but you see, I cannot carry it. I am too well known as a collector of such things. I will be thoroughly searched. However, you will be American tourists. You see, you would be performing a service to my country.
Hey, put it nicely, senor, but it's still smuggling if I'm caught.
I shall pay you 1,000 American dollars.
Oh? You will pay, not the government.
I am a collector and an archaeologist. My name will be forever connected with the recovery of this relic. That is what matters to me.
Well, I could see a lot of Peru on $1,000. Especially if I had someone to show me around. Will the senorita be coming along?
Si, of course. And most grateful to you.
All right. I'll do it. The worst part of the boat trip was that I wasn't supposed to be seen with Berean or Ana Luz. The first day out, I was standing at the rail talking to one of the passengers, another American, as they came along.
Yeah, it's a nice country. Lots to see in South America. Have you been to the Inca ruins in Cusco?
No, I haven't gotten up that far yet.
Oh, well, you'll find it... Oh, pardon me. Well, buenos dias, Don Alfredo.
Yeah. Buenos dias, senor.
You're in good health, I trust?
Si, gracias.
And how are you, Ana Luz?
I'm very well, Senor Jefferson. Gracias.
Good. I hope to see you later, perhaps.
Hasta luego, senor.
Oh, sure. Hasta luego, Don Alfredo.
Your friend seems surprised to see you here.
Surprised? He almost had another heart attack, the old robber.
Interesting-looking man. Who is he?
Name's Berean, Peruvian dealer in antiques.
Oh, and the girl?
Oh, his nurse.
Even more interesting.
Yes, isn't she?
Tell me, are you perhaps also a dealer in antiques?
Me? I'm just a tourist, like you.
That was the first hint of trouble. When Berean saw this tourist, Jefferson, his face had gone white with fear, and I knew I better keep a close eye on the man. On our last night, our trouble came. I'd been playing poker with Jefferson and some of the passengers in the smoking room. When Jefferson left, I got out of the game as soon as I could and went to my cabin. Just as I turned into the corridor, I saw a dark figure hurrying away from my door. I went into my cabin and looked around. Everything seemed all right until I noticed the catch on my suitcase had been opened. Then I knew that hurrying figure couldn't have been Jefferson. He was too tall, and only one person knew I had the package. I went out into the corridor. There was a light on in her cabin, and I entered without knocking.
Oh, Senor Colby, what do you want?
Ready for bed, senorita? Bathrobes, slippers? What do you have on under that?
Senor Colby.
Let me see.
Don't be...
Just as I thought, senorita. Why are you fully dressed under your robe?
That is none of your business.
I think it is. It was a waste of time, senorita. I carry the package on me.
Oh, senor.
Now suppose we go next door to Berean's cabin and tell him you're not as trustworthy as he thought.
Oh, you don't...
That you're trying to get the package, too. We'll let him find out why. All right, come on.
He's asleep.
We'll wake him up.
You cannot. I have given him sleeping pills.
We'll see. Come on.
Take your hands off me. Let me go. Wait.
Huh?
That was Senor Berean's little bear. Beside his bed. There is something wrong.
Now listen,
Let me go. I must go to him.
All right, we'll go together. Where's the light? Something hit me in the jaw, and I went down hard. Somebody rushed past me and out into the corridor.
Senor Colby. Senor Colby. Hurry, turn on the light.
Huh?
By the door. Something is wrong.
All right. Wait a minute.
Don Alfredo. Don Alfredo.
Yeah. Something's wrong, all right. He's dead.
We shall return to Escape in a moment. But first, ladies, you can get a haircut every afternoon without going to the barber. There's music, there's fun, there's a surprise a minute with this haircut whose name is Gary Moore. Yes, Gary has his own daytime show now on CBS exclusively. A full hour every weekday, Monday through Friday, on most of these same CBS stations. So, ladies, men too, choose your chair and get that haircut right away. And now we return to Escape.
Don Alfredo Berillan was dead of a heart attack, or so the authorities in Callao said. I wasn't so sure they were right, but they seemed to want as little trouble as possible. All I wanted then was my $1,000. But it looked like I was holding the bag unless I could find out what the package was and turn it into money. As soon as I was alone in my hotel room, I unwrapped it. All it contained was a tangle of little colored strings and a page of old manuscript in a language I didn't know. I could make nothing of it, so I took it to the curator of the Callao Museum.
Very interesting, very. Where did you get it?
From a friend. What is it?
A tepu. An Inca message cord. A beauty.
Yeah, what's the message?
It is not exactly a message, senor, just a reminder of a story already known to the teller. Like tying a string around your finger for a reminder. Was there no manuscript with it?
Perhaps.
Aha. Then the manuscript will tell the story.
Look, can you translate it for me?
Unfortunately, I do not know the language of the Incas.
Well, could you recommend anybody?
The best is Don Alfredo Berillan.
No good, he's dead.
What? Don Alfredo dead?
This morning, of a heart attack on the boat from Chile.
Oh, a pity. He was a fine man. Now, I don't know. Perhaps Senor Najarro could do it, but I strongly advise you to turn it over to the museum. Under Peruvian law, it belongs to the government. Should you try to exploit it, you might get into serious trouble.
Thanks, I'll remember that. When I got back to the hotel, Anna Luce was waiting for me in the lobby.
Senor Colby.
Oh, Anna Luce. You come to show me the town?
I have come for the package. You may give it to me now.
Why, you was there?
I was the closest to him.
No, it's not good enough, senorita. He obviously didn't mean for you to have it, or you wouldn't have tried to steal it from me.
Well, I must have it. For me, it is a kind of ransom. With it, I may buy my freedom.
Your freedom? From what?
From slavery, senor. Here in Peru, we had a kind of slavery. My family was too poor to care for me, so they gave me to a rich family as a servant. I am therefore the possessor of my patron, who raised me. With this package, I can repay my debt to him and thus be free.
But if Berillan was your patron, it would seem that...
He was not my patron.
Who then?
I cannot tell. Oh, please, senor. Please, you said that you would like to be my friend. Perhaps somehow that could be.
Look, Anna Luce, I want to help you if I can.
Well, then
but I can't give you the package. I have to play the game my way. I'm sorry, Anna Luce. Very sorry. Suddenly, she was dead-looking and walked away from me. I knew she wasn't lying, that it was terribly important to her. Well, I supposed I'd lost her now, and I went up to my room feeling pretty miserable about it. The minute I opened the door, I knew something was wrong, but too late. Everything went black. When I came to, I was trussed up on the bed, tied hand and foot, and Jefferson was standing over me, the package in his hand, grinning.
You were pretty easy, chum. Didn't even muss my hair.
Oh. Hello, tourist. So you got it, huh? It was you in Berean's cabin, of course.
Of course.
Now I owe you 2 good socks. Not to mention something for Berean's murder and the loss of my commission.
I didn't kill him. He was dead when I got there.
So you say.
So I say. Anyway, now you can forget it, chum. You're all finished with this little party.
That's what he thought then. And as he left, I was wondering how he'd feel when he unwrapped the package and found it full of old newspaper clippings. After I got untied, I went down and got the manuscript out of the hotel safe. Took it to a photography shop and had 3 blow-up prints made of it. One of these I cut up word by word and separated the words into 3 piles. One pile I took along when I went out to look up Senor Najarro. He turned out to be an old crow of a man, bald and harmless looking, but sharp.
See, very interesting. These words are cut from a photograph of a manuscript, and you want me to translate them? That is hard, senor. They are out of context. It would be much easier if I could use the original or another photograph.
No, we'll do it this way.
Oh, senor, you do not trust me.
I don't trust anybody until I see what it is. Do you want the job?
Oh, it's not a job, senor. It's a pleasure. You see, I am interested. This kind of thing is my life.
How soon will you have these?
You come back this evening, eh? This evening, senor.
I went back to the hotel and put the original manuscript and 1 copy into the hotel safe. Then when I turned around, I saw Anna Luce standing across the lobby watching me. I started toward her, but she turned and almost ran out of the hotel. Seeing her run from me like that hurt. But I had to go through with it. I had a feeling that it was mostly for her that I was doing it. And to kill time till I could go back to Najarro's, I bought a copy of Prescott's book, The Conquest of Peru, hoping to read up on the Incas and perhaps find a clue to the manuscript. As it turned out, that was unnecessary, because while I sat there in the hotel patio, I had a visitor.
Hello, chum.
Well, Jefferson, what's new in the papers?
Hey, you're smarter than I thought. Smart enough not to have it on you, then or now, huh? Maybe we better be partners.
Partners?
Yeah, you've got the package. I know what it means.
I'll know what it means, too, very shortly.
You didn't give it to Najarro?
What do you know about him?
He's the only logical one. And he'd give his soul to get his hands on that manuscript. He's worse than Berean, you fool.
Don't worry, he hasn't got it and he won't get it. He's merely translating isolated words.
You are smart, aren't you? But even that may be dangerous. We've got to beat him to it.
To what?
To millions, literally millions in gold. Lost Inca treasure. You can read about it in that book you have there, how they had so much gold they paved the streets with it. How they hid it away, buried it when their empire fell to the Spaniards. It's all there. And the manuscript you have gives the exact directions on how to find one part of it. A part that's sure to be worth $1 million at present values.
No wonder everyone's after it.
Now, look, there's no time to waste. Give me the manuscript. I can translate it.
You're a man of many accomplishments.
I've been an archaeologist. Never mind that. I can translate it. If we're going to be partners.
I'll think it over. So, I had in my hands and the key to the lost treasure of the sun, a fabulous cache of small, solid gold statues from the palaces of the great Incas. Oh, it was a little breathtaking, and I was still in the clouds when I went back to Najarro's that night. It was very pleasant. He gave me the translations, took the second batch of words. I paid him with a traveler's check because he wanted American dollars. Then he entertained me a while, showing me some of his Inca relics. Well, an hour passed before I could break away and get back to the hotel. I went to the desk to get the manuscript so I could start working on the translation. But when I asked for it...
Why, Senor Colby, did you not get your package?
What do you mean?
We gave it to your messenger, the young lady, not an hour ago.
My messenger?
See? just as you instructed in this note. That is your signature, is it not?
Yes. Yes, it is. Now, at last, I had it figured. A girl. Anna Luce, of course. She'd seen me put the manuscript in the safe. But the signature, it was my signature. Or rather, a reasonable facsimile, a clever tracing. Who could have done it? What had I signed recently? And then I remembered. The traveler's check at Najaro's. He'd asked for it, American dollars. And suddenly I knew the truth. Anna Luce in Najaro. He was her patron. It was for him all the time that she'd been trying to get it. And they'd beaten me. Only not quite. I still had up in my hotel room between the pages of Prescott's book the third print of the manuscript. And they didn't know about that. I hurried up and got it, and then I went to Jefferson's room. Yeah? Who is... That makes us even, Jefferson. Now we're partners. So get up and get to work on this print. Come on.
I'll fix you later, chum. Right now, what changed your mind?
Najaro got the original. We'll have to work fast. The treasure will be at Cusco, won't it?
Sure. The old Inca capital. Or near there.
And while you're working, I'll get the tickets to Cusco. We'll leave on the first train. We rode all night on the mountain train to Cusco, and Jefferson sat there in the swaying coach translating. By morning, we had it. The directions to $1 million in gold, maybe more. In Cusco, we obtained burros and supplies and an Indian guide named Tasho. And by sundown, we were in the shadows of the tremendous, brooding ruins of the Inca palace. Even in ruins, it was something you'd never forget. And I got the eerie feeling that the dead Incas were watching us with hate in their eyes. Then Tasho started pacing out the directions from the manuscript, striking down the hill, out across the valley. We followed with equipment. We were looking for a certain stone. At first, we couldn't find it.
An egg-shaped boulder by the side of the stream, it said. There's no stream here.
Yeah. Wait a minute. That was centuries ago. Maybe since then it was made into one of these irrigation ditches. Let's look at that one over there.
Maybe you're right. Come on.
We finally found the boulder half buried in the hillside. Then it took us most of the night to dig around it, loosen it, and finally topple it over. It was just dawn when we got down to the last perfectly fitted stone.
Hurry up. The minute it gets light, this place will be swarming with Indians coming out to work the fields.
Okay, this is the last. Have Tasho lend a hand, will you?
Right. Come on, Tasho.
Easy now.
There.
Good Lord.
Look at that. Just feast your eyes on that.
Solid gold. And look at the beautiful carving. These are magnificent, priceless pieces.
Not priceless, chum. They'll bring a very pretty price when they're melted down to bullion.
Oh, no, you couldn't destroy works of art like this.
No? Come on, let's load them up.
We had to hurry loading the small but heavy gold statues on Tasho's burros because it was fast getting light. Once some Indians passed not 50 yards from us, but they didn't see us. We were at last finished, and suddenly Jefferson turned to me.
Okay, chum. So long.
Huh? What? What's the idea of the gun, Jefferson?
Just for you, chum. You've got a stronger heart than Berean. I'll have to shoot you.
So you did kill Berean?
Just scared him to death. Stuck the gun in his face. Ready now? Say goodbye, chum.
It seemed like I was in a dream. I lay dreaming for an endless time. Faces came and went. I thought I saw Anna Luce, and she gave me a drink of water. And then later, much later, I woke up and saw her again.
Senor Colby, can you hear me?
Then I knew it was no longer a dream. She was real. And behind her stood Najarro.
Senor Colby.
Hello, Ana Luz. How'd you get here? Wherever it is.
You are in Senor Najarro's suite at the hotel. We brought you here yesterday after the Indians found you.
Thanks. How am I?
You are going to be all right. Jefferson shot you, but only in the shoulder. Some Indians were nearby, and he had to run for it. So he just threw you in the pit and left you to bleed to death.
And you saved my life.
Well, it was not I, but the Indians who found you.
Thanks anyway. And, Jefferson got away with the gold?
See? Senor Colby, can you tell us anything to help us recover it? The government offers you a big reward if you can.
The government? You told them?
See. I always intended to give it to them anyway. It is only that, like Berrien, I am an archaeologist. I had hoped that it might be my name that was remembered as the discoverer of the treasure of the sun. But now, can you help us, senor?
Yes, I think I can. But for a price.
I have told you there will be a reward.
No, more than that. I want you to give Ana Luz her freedom.
But, senor, she is free. She is no longer my servant. She is like my daughter.
Well, evidently she still feels an oppressive debt to you. Isn't that right, Ana Luz?
See, it is.
But,
you see, senor? Will you release her?
But of course, senor, she owes me nothing.
Senor, until the treasure is recovered and Senor Najarro's name is placed on it as the discoverer, I can never feel free, even so.
All right, then we'll get the treasure. Help me out of this bed.
Oh, senor, you
You
cannot...
think I can stay here knowing how much this means to you, Ana Luz? Come, we must hurry.
See, but where?
Coming up on the train, Jefferson talked about taking the treasure out of Peru by way of Puno and Lake Titicaca, across the lake to Bolivia.
Ah, I see. See, of course. Then we must charter a plane and fly to Puno at once.
We flew up to the lake 12,000 feet high in the Andes with the government commandant. He had a company of soldiers stationed there. Jeff would be able to get in, but our job was to be sure he didn't get out. Soon after we arrived, his soldiers brought in the word. They had found the body of Tasho, shot in the outskirts of town.
Then he is here already.
And he's unloading excess baggage in his own familiar way.
We shall search every house. We shall scour this entire shore of the lake. We'll find him. He will hang for murder.
Commandant, there's no way he can get around the lake by land, is there?
Senor, these are some of the highest mountains in the world. It is impossible. And there is only one ship to the Bolivian shore. It leaves in the morning. We shall search every inch of it. He shall not get away now.
But by morning we weren't so sure. Every house had been searched. The shore had been scoured and the ship gone over inch by inch. Jeff was nowhere to be found. The Bolivian steamer was whistling impatiently for clearance to set sail. They cared nothing for the search since there is no love lost between the two countries. Finally, the commandant let them go. He could do nothing else. And as we all stood and watched, it pulled away.
I did what I could. I could not hold him any longer.
I am afraid that we have missed him.
I know it. I feel it. He has escaped.
Ana Luz, don't cry.
Oh.
Perhaps still there's a chance.
No, he is gone. But I will never feel free now.
Wait a minute. What's that? Look, out in the channel. A little native raft. It's making for the steamer, trying to head it off in the channel. That's him! Come on! The commandant and I jumped into the police launch at the pier. It looked like a close race.
If they stop,
They're slowing down for him. What if he gets aboard? Will they let us have him?
No. The Bolivians would only laugh at us.
Then we've got to make it. We've got to. The commandant got everything he could out of the launch. But Jeff had almost reached the ship when we got there. We swung around the steamer and... Halt! Stop! Swing in between him and the boat.
There. Stay where you are, Senor Jefferson. You are under arrest.
And when Jefferson saw me, hate filled his eyes. The hate that's part of the gold fever. And he raised his gun and pointed it at me. It was lucky for me that the commandant was quick on the draw. Might have been me instead of Jefferson who toppled over into the water.
Oh, Senor Colby, how can I ever repay you?
Ana Luz, you don't owe me or anybody anything now. This is no way to start. To start your new life.
Thank you, Senor Colby. You have made me very happy. I hope that we shall meet again.
But, you mean you're leaving? Why?
Well, I must get back to Callao and tell Carlos.
Carlos?
Si, the man I love. The man I may now marry. Adios, senor.
Senor Colby, you are a hero. You shall have a big reward. And the people of Peru will honor you.
Perhaps. But they'll fall in love with guys by the name of Carlos.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Plunder of the Sun by David Dodge, adapted for radio by John Dunkel. Featured in the cast were Paul Frees as Colby, Gerald Moore as Jefferson, and Lucille Meredith as Ana Luz. Also heard were Harry Bartell, Charlie Long, and Tony Barrett. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week.
You are imprisoned in a lonely lighthouse off the steaming jungle coast of French Guiana. Your comrades, a maniac and a coward. Your captors, an army of gigantic, hunger-maddened rats.
Next week, we escape to a nightmare world of terror and violence, as George Toulouse describes it in his hair-raising tale, Keleton Key. Goodbye, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Stay tuned now for Life with Luigi, which follows over most of these CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to a lonely lighthouse off the steaming jungle coast of French Guiana and a nightmare world of terror and violence, as George Toulouse describes it in his hair-raising tale, Keleton Key.
Picture this place. A gray, tapering cylinder, welded by iron rods and concrete to the key itself. A bare, black rock, 150 feet long, maybe 40 wide. That's at low tide. At high tide, just the light, rising 110 feet straight up out of the ocean. And all about it, the churning water. Gray-green, scum-dappled, warm as soup, and swarming with gigantic bat-like devilfish, great violet schools of Portuguese man-o-war, and, yes, sharks, the big ones, the 15-footers. And as if this wasn't enough, there was a hot, dank, rotten-smelling wind that came at us day and night off the jungle swamps of the mainland. A wind that smelled like death. Set in the base of the light was a watertight bronze door. And in you went, and up. Yes, up, and round, past tanks of oil and the coils of rope, cases of wicks, racks of lanterns, sacks of spuds, and cartons and cans, and up and up and up, round and round. Over the light storeroom was the food storeroom, and over the food storeroom was the bunk room where the three of us slept, and over the bunk room was the living and cooking room, and over the living and cooking room was the light. She was a beauty, balanced like a ballerina on the glistening steel axle of her rotary mechanism. At night, you'd lie there on the stone deck of the gallery with the light revolving smoothly and quietly over your head, easing her bright white eye 360 degrees around the horizon. You'd lie there watching to see that the feeders kept working, that everything ran right. And it wouldn't be bad. The other two fellows snoring in their sacks 2 levels down. You'd smoke your pipe to kill the stink of the wind, and it wouldn't be bad. About those other two, Louis and Auguste, what a pair. Louis, he was head man, was a big fellow from the Basque country, black beard, little hard black eyes, and a pair of arms that, I tell you, those arms were as big around as my legs. Yes, head man he was, and what word he let go was law. Silent fellow, and although I spent my first 2 weeks trying to strike up a real conversation, the most I could ever get out of him was...
I took up this profession because I don't like people. They talk too much. It's quiet work, light tending. Let's keep it that way. You're getting to be as bad as Auguste. I thought maybe for once they'd send me somebody
That
who
was
would
Louis.
keep his mouth.
And when he accused me of becoming like Auguste, I quieted down, because Auguste was the talkingest man I've ever met. The talkingest and the ugliest. He was hunchbacked, stood 4 feet high, had red hair and big blue eyes. It seems he'd been an actor in Paris.
Over 200 different productions, dear boy, at the Grand Guignol. Oh, but it was monstrous, horrible. The way we used to scare the audience, I was hated. Yes, they used to throw things and hiss and bare their teeth at me. Finally, it got too bad. I couldn't stand it any longer. I gave up the theater. My nerves, you understand, yes, gave it up completely. I really did. I couldn't.
It all started one morning at 2:30. I was on watch, lying on the cool stone deck, pulling on my pipe, staring out at the blackness, the phosphorescent combers and the big yellow stars, when, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed something show up for a second, something the light had touched, far off. I waited for her to come around again, and when she did, there it was. A 3-master, a big one, about a half-mile off, and coming down out of the north-northwest, coming straight for us. You must understand, our light was where it was for a very good reason. Dangerous submerged reefs surrounded us, and ships kept clear. But this one, this sailing vessel, was coming straight on. I went over to the gallery door and yelled down.
Louis! What is it?
Ship! Headed for the reefs! I had the glasses out now. I couldn't read her name, but I could see her quite plainly. All sails set, the foam creaming away under her bow, her beautiful lines. A Dutch ship, I guessed her. Why didn't she turn? Every time it passed, our light hit her with the glare of day.
Ship? Where?
North-northwest. The light will touch her in a moment.
Can't she see us?
Look at her. She just keeps coming on.
The square heads.
What is it?
Watch. North-northwest.
I know what it is.
What?
The Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman. We did a play about her. What a performance. You ghastly galleon, hag-ridden, curse-driven, must-on...
shut up, will you? She's luffing.
Yes.
It's a sloppy way to come about. She's derelict, that's it. Derelict. Abandoned. Crew left her for some reason or another. But instead of sinking, she's gone on, running before every wind.
She'll not run long. Not with these reefs to break her up.
A beautiful ship. Now, why would men leave a beautiful ship like that?
She didn't ram us, although we all expected it. But as we waited for the crash, she luffed again, caught some odd gust, and went about. We watched her the rest of those black hours, heeling and rocking, pushed and pulled by every stray wind, every freak current. Watched her until the dawn came, till the sea turned from black to pearly gray. And on she came again, heading for us. We all had our glasses trained on her now.
August, you can kill the light.
Right, Chief.
She doesn't look so good by daylight. Think she'll ground this time? I say, do you think she'll ground this time?
This is impossible. Absolutely impossible.
What?
Here, take my glasses. They're better than yours.
All right. What is it, you're... I had to focus. And then my breath froze in my throat. The decks were swarming with a dark brown carpet that looked like a gigantic fungus, but undulating. And on the masts and yards, the guys and all, were hundreds, no thousands, no millions. I don't know. An inestimable number of tremendous rats.
See them?
Yes, I see them.
Now we know why she's derelict.
Yes, now we know.
What are you two doing? Here, give me a look.
Yes, give him the glasses. Take a good look, chatterbox. Give you something to talk about.
She's still heading for us.
Yes.
If she's going to turn, she'd better turn soon.
Suppose she doesn't.
You mean suppose she piles up on the quay?
It's low tide.
Yes, it is.
Well, where's all the conversation, August? Huh? Here, you want the glasses again? You want another look?
No.
She's still coming on.
Go away!
Turn! Will you turn, I say? I pray you turn. Cracked up.
The rats! Look! On the water! Like a carpet!
They're swimming.
Sure, they're swimming. Those are ship's rats.
But they're swimming for the rocks.
The door below! It's open!
Well, come on!
And down we went, racing down the stone stairs, taking them 3 and 4 at a time. Scared? You bet we were scared.
August, you get the windows. Maybe they can climb. We don't know.
Right, Chief. But hurry!
Look. You see them?
No. Oh, yes, I do. Up at the other end of the rock.
Look at them.
Millions.
Yeah, they smell us. Here they come. Oh, close the door.
I can't. Stop.
Here, let me.
Oh, you.
Yeah.
Made it.
Holy, that was close. Look.
One got in. Look, there.
Well, get him.
Watch it. Catch him.
What a brute.
He was as big as a tomcat, bigger, and his eyes were wild and red, his teeth long and sharp and yellow. He went for us, starving, ravenous, and we fought him, fought that one rat all over the room. It was, oh, believe me, I don't exaggerate. It was like fighting a panther.
I got it.
We'd better get aloft.
Yeah.
As we ran up the winding staircase, we passed the tiny windows of the various levels, and at every one was a thick, wriggling, screaming curtain of brown fur. I was ahead of Louis, and I dreaded each successive level. Suppose they had found a way in.
Look at them! Oh, will you look at them?
It's a nightmare.
Will you look at them?
The air of the gallery was thick and fetid with the stink of them. The light was dim, brown, filtered through the crawling mass that swarmed over the glass, all about us. We couldn't see the sky. Nothing. Nothing but them. Their red eyes, their claws, their wriggling, hairy snouts, and their teeth. The rats. They screamed and howled and threw themselves against the grass. They were starving. And we 3, We stood very quietly. Oh, very, very quietly. In the center of the glass room. Under our beautiful light. And we waited.
What can we do? What can we do, Chief?
Take it easy. Take it easy.
I turned. I just turned.
It won't do any good. It won't do any good to stand here and shake.
That's right.
Go away. Go away, do you hear me? Go away this instant.
They won't go away. Not until...
Finish it, Chief. Not until... What?
Not until they've been fed.
You can take just so much horror, and then you get used to it. And they were interesting to watch, you know. They couldn't understand the glass. They could see us, and they could rush at us. But that thin, invisible barrier held them off, stopped them. From time to time, we caught a glimpse of the rocks below. More rats down there, swarming brown velvet in the bright tropical sunlight. And then the tide began to rise. If only it had drowned some of them.
Ship's rats don't drown. No, sir. You can't drown one of them. They're all climbing up the tower.
This bunch around us is getting thicker.
Say, what's the time?
6:15.
You've got first watch, Sean.
Right.
Wake me at 10.
I will.
Come along, August.
It was getting dark. One side of the room was lit a soft, filtered red. Sunset through the rats. Oh, very pretty. I set the wicks, checked my fuel, and then lit the lamp. It caught them, lit them in their gigantic wriggling web of pale, hairless bellies, twitching red tails, bright eyes. And then I started the rotary motor. The light drove them mad. As she swung slowly and smoothly about, she blinded them in the fierce, stabbing bar of light, moving continually about, ever turning, ever touching, ever moving around and around. And they, twitching and shuddering, eyes flaming when they were struck by the light, the bright light moving. And behind, on the dark side of the room, so close, I dared not turn my back. But you can't help turning your back when you're in a room made of glass. On the dark side of the room, you couldn't see them, but only their eyes. Thousands of points of blank red light, blinking and twinkling like the stars of hell. And when I came up into the gallery early the next morning, there stood Auguste, his back to me. He was bowing to the rats, waving his arms and making a speech.
Dear audience, I am going to play once again that magnificent role which made me the toast of the Paris theater. Prelati, the evil genius of the medieval underworld. I am he who did guide the dark soul of Marechal into the never
I stood staring at him, horror-struck. But he didn't notice me. The man had gone mad. He kept turning, telling his stories to all the rats, leaving no one out. Auguste! Auguste!
Another one, a late comer. Take a seat on the iron, dear patron.
Stop it.
The blood-stained monster was my partner in iniquity.
He went on, bowing and scraping to the rats, his big blue eyes rolling and winking, his wild red hair waving about him. I grabbed him by the arms and slapped his face. He looked at me like a child, and then his face screwed up. He looked as though he were about to cry. Go below. Go on.
Oh, very well then. Later, my dear audience, later. Matinee today.
Sure, he was crazy. But I guess we all were. A few hours later, he came back up and caught Louis and me teasing the rats. Yes, sounds horrible. It was fun. We would get right up against the glass and make faces at them. It drove them crazy. They would scratch away, trying to get at our eyes. Louis was even cuter about it. He'd pull a piece of bread out of his pocket and press it against the glass. The rats would scramble into a solid ball, biting each other, clustering like grapes. From time to time, a whole knot of them would slip and fall the 110 feet to the surf below.
Look at the sharks.
They're eating them.
Those sharks are our friends. Here, I'll get another bunch together. Here, my beauties. That's it. Pile up. Kill each other, huh? There they go.
Auguste joined in, too. Very ingenious, Auguste. He learned that if he spread-eagled himself against the glass, they'd bunch and bundle against his figure. Then he'd leap back.
Look! My portrait in rats!
It went on all day. And then I was lying in bed. It was about midnight. I was very tired, and I was just beginning to fall off to sleep when I became conscious of a new sound. I couldn't figure it at first. I got up, lit the lamp, and went to the window. Even as I looked out, I saw one of the panes begin to sag in. They had eaten the wood away. Louis, come quick!
What is it?
They found a way in! I held the glass with my hand. Now they were all going crazy, and assured of the success of this maneuver, were all nibbling away at the wood. Louis ran below and then returned with a large sheet of tin. We spread it against the window and hammered it into place. Even as we did so, we felt the heavy bodies thudding against the other side as the window gave way.
There! That ought to hold. If it doesn't, we're done for.
Rats can't eat tin.
No, they can't. But what is that?
I don't know.
Came from below.
The storeroom window.
They're in. They're swarming up the stairs.
Drop the trap, right?
Yeah.
What? Two of them got in.
Let's go after them.
We didn't have to go after them. They came at us. I leaped to one side and grabbed a marlin spike, swung, and smashed one in midair.
No!
I whirled to see Louis with the other. It had ripped his hand open and the blood was pouring out. He held his hand aloft and kicked at the snarling rat. I stepped and swung and got him.
Oh, my hand! He got my hand!
That's both of them, Louis. I'll get you something to tie that up.
Blood! Look at it, my blood, I'm bleeding.
Don't worry about it, Louis. Here. I'll wind this kerchief around it. It'll be okay.
Blood.
There, that's not bad. Just the flesh. And then I became conscious of a new sound. They were gnawing their way through the wooden trapdoor. I watched the wood, fascinated. And even as I did, it began to give way. And a bristling, whiskery nose showed through. Louis! You've got to go up! The next level was the living quarters and kitchen. I slammed the trap there, but it too was wood.
Oh, my blood. What are we going to do?
I don't know. They'll be through this one in a minute.
To the gallery. The trap door in the gallery is metal.
Good. Come on! We made it. Lay across the trapdoor, exhausted, while below us the rats took over the entire tower. I could hear them howling and fighting over our food supply, our water, our leather. And all about us, the others screamed and glared in at us, swayed in a tangled mass, hypnotized by the ever-turning light. By morning, the air in the little room was horrible. Until now, we'd been getting air from the tower below. Now that was sealed off, and so was all our food and water. We lay exhausted, panting, waiting, and the hours crawled on. I was almost dozing from fatigue when I saw a sight that brought me to fast.
Would you like to come in, my beauties? Would you? I hold the powers of life and death, and I can let you in, you know.
Auguste was standing by the glass, and in one hand he held a big wrench. He was tapping the glass gently, not quite hard enough to break it. I eased myself to my feet, and slowly, very slowly, tiptoed toward him.
All I have to do is have just a little harder.
I found a coil of wire in the toolkit, and I trussed him up, fastened him to a stanchion in the center of the room. Louis was of no help. He lay on his side, looking at his bloody hand, weak and sick as a baby. So there I was, a lunatic and a coward for company, and all about, watching our little drama, the rats. The day dragged by. The supply boat wasn't due for another 12 days. I don't know what they could have done if they had come. And we had only one way of summoning them. That was to shoot off distress rockets. But the rockets were 4 floors below. And even if they'd been right there in the gallery, I couldn't have opened a window to fire them. That night, I tended the light, but its flame was devouring our oxygen. The following day, we lay thirst-tormented, starving, waiting. And the following night, I again tended the light. But the small supply of spare wicking we kept in the gallery had become exhausted. And quite suddenly, at about midnight, the light went out. There was nothing I could do. Wicks were stored 3 levels below. Nothing I could do. Nothing. From time to time, I'd strike a match to see the clock. And when I did, it lit up the million red eyes about us. All about. Watching. Waiting. Below, it had grown quiet. They'd cleaned us out, and now they, too, were waiting. All waiting. Then, the rats, quite suddenly, were silent. And then I heard it. And then I saw the sky and the stars. The rats were gone. I went to the glass. Out there on the water, a small freighter, a banana boat, showing a few lights, came softly and innocently towards us. Our light was out. They didn't know. I wanted to open the windows, to call out to them, to warn them somehow. But I was afraid. What if the rats were hiding from me, tricking me? So I waited. She grounded very softly on a reef not 200 yards from the quay. Grounded so gently that the man playing the cornet, was he a passenger, crewman, off watch, didn't even stop playing. They tried washing her back off. I could have told them to save their fuel. The tide was rising, would have floated her free. And I waited. That's all. That's the story. The sun came up, and there wasn't a rat on the whole quay. Every last one of that terrible army had left us, gone back to sea on their new ship. Auguste, insane asylum. He never recovered. And Louis, they took him into Cayenne, where he died of blood poisoning from his bite. Yes, that's the whole of it. And if you'll excuse me now, I must go set my traps. No, mouse traps. No rats in this lighthouse. I should say not. Life in the lights isn't bad. But sometimes, when I see a strange vessel approaching, I get a little nervous. Sure. Somewhere on the seas, there's a little banana boat without a crew. That is, without a human crew.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Three Keleton Key by George Toulouse, adapted for radio by James Poe. Featured in the cast were Elliot Reed as Jean, Bill Conrad as Louis, and Harry Bartell as Auguste. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week.
You are standing on the deck of a ship headed on an illegal mission to Central America. Before you, holding a gun in your stomach, is a desperate man who has just given you the choice between being killed or becoming a murderer yourself.
Next week, we escape with John and Gwen Bagney's exciting tale of a murderous trio of gun runners in Central America, Maracas. Goodbye, then, until the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Stay tuned now for Life with Luigi, which follows over most of these CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.